to believe that he was adopted, then his next step will be emotional acceptance. He will start searching for proof. He has already shown that when the sense that something is being hidden from him, he does not easily stop. This means that while Ares is following Damir's trial from one direction, Tamus may be following his own childhood from other direction. Neither of them may understand that their investigations are moving toward the same point. This gives the story a powerful structure. Ares is searching for a brother he remembers but cannot reach, while Tamur is searching for a family connection that he does not fully remember. One young man is looking outward from someone missing, and other is looking backward into his own identity. The strongest prediction is that these two searches will soon begin to overlap in the way that neither Ares nor Tamur accept. Ares reaching the house where Damir's once lived in therefore much more important than simply finding another address. Until now, many of his clues has depended on what other people told him. They made him unavailable because people could lie, hide information, or lead him in the wrong direction. A physical place is different. A house can hold traces that people forget to remove. It can connect names, date, photographs, neighbors, old records, forgotten objects, and memories that someone thought were buried forever. Ares is likely to search that place with the hope that Tamir may have recently been there, but the real discovery could be something older. He may learn that Tamir did not simply disappear. Someone they have deliberately moved him from one home to another and carefully separated him from the identity he had as a child. If that happened, then the question changes completely. Ares will no longer ask only where Tamir went. He will begin asking from the changed Tamir life and why. This is the kind of discovery that can connect the Akaya family to the past without immediately revealing every answer. A document may carry a familiar surname, a photograph may contain someone Ares already know, a neighbor may remember an adult who regularly visited a child, and small detail could direct Ares back toward Hakan, Sebnam, or another person connected to a family. Hakan will probably become far more dangerous once he understands how close Ares has become. Until now, Hakan has often been able to control events because he has money, influence, information, and people who are willing to act for him. But control becomes much more difficult when he person searching for the truth stop depending on official explanation. Ares has reached a point where a warning will not be given. If Hakan tell him to stay away, Ares will not only become more certain that he has found something important. That is why Hakan may change his strategy. Instead of only open threatening Ares, he could try to be mislead him. He may offer a version of Damir's past containing enough truth to sound convincing while hiding the part that could destroy the Kaya family. This would be a smarter than simply denying anything. Ares is no longer the same boy who arrived with little information. He has learned how people behave when and they are frightened by a question. Hakan may therefore create a false final answer, hoping Ares will accept it and stop searching. But Ares will probably notice one detail that does not match what he has already discovered, and the constructions would become the reason he continues. Another possibility is that Hakan does not fully know the current truth about Damir. He may know what happened many years ago but not realize where Damir's life eventually led. This would make the stage more interesting because Hakan would not simply be the person holding every answer. He could also be afraid of discovering what became of the decisions that was made in the past. Perhaps there was an arrangement involving Damir when he was still very young. Perhaps adults believed they were solving one problem without understanding but what a decision would create years later. If Timon is connected to his history, Hackers may have lived for years believing that the secret could never return. Ares' arrival would then become the event that break that confidence. His search would force all decisions back into the present. The reason Hackers look increasingly uncomfortable around Ares may not only be because he fears exposure, it may also be because Ares represents a past Hackers believe was permanently buried. Every time Ares asks another question, Hakan may be remembering another decision. That emotional pressure could eventually make Hakan commit a mistake. Sebnam is likely to become even more central because protecting humans appears to be of her strongest motivation. A mother who knows that her child is questioning his identity will not react calmly if there is a painful secret behind that identity. She may try to rescue him, control what he sees, or stop him from talking to the people who could confirm his fear. However, every attempt to protect him may have the opposite effect. If Timon notices that Sebnam becomes unusually nervous when adoption or childhood records are mentioned, he will understand that his suspicion is not imaginary. He may begin watching her behavior rather than believing her explanations. This could create a new kind of conflict between them. Thomas may still love her, but love will be no longer be enough to stop his questions. He will want to know why important parts of his childhood were hidden and why certain memories do not fit the story he has given. Memories do not fit the story he has given. Sebnam, meanwhile, could believe that Sebnam revealing everything at once could emotionally destroy him. Her silence may come from love, her fear, guilt, or all three at the same time. This complexity can make her actions more powerful because she does not need to become a simple villain. She may genuinely believe that keeping the truth hidden is only way to keep Timon safe. The fire trauma shown around Timon may also have a deeper purpose than creating dramatic crisis. A strong shock often brings old memories back in fragments, and Timon's reaction could become the first doorway into the childhood memory that he has never fully understood. The important clue may not be the fire itself. The fire may remind him of the voice, a room, a person, carrying him a small an object, or a moment from his early life. At first, Timon may think his mind is simply mixing old fears with the present situation, but the memory could return again later with the more details. This is where the mystery could become personal. He may remember that the people around him when he was very young were not the people he was always believed were his family. He might remember another child. He might remember a different name. He might remember an adult telling him something that made no sense, but he was little, but suddenly he meanings now. The series does not mean to reveal the entire memory immediately. It would be more effective if Timon received only pieces. Those pieces could slowly create a picture, and each new pieces could bring him closer to the Eris without either to him understanding why. Dennis may become the person who first realizes that Timon's problem is not only fear from the fire. She is close enough to observe him when he is not trying to appear strong. Timon may hide confusion from his family because he expects them to control the conversation, but Dennis may see his real action. She could notice that his questions are becoming more specific. She may understand that he is not simply upset, he is beginning to doubt the story of his entire life. This could change their relationship. Dennis may fragments of their but he remembers she does not need to solve the mystery for him. Her role may be to keep him focused when emotion pushes him toward reckless decisions. At the same time, Dennis could be placed in the difficult position if she learns something about Eris that Timon does not yet know. She might see the similarities between their stories before either young man accept the possibilities. If she realizes that Timon's forgotten past may connect with the brother Eris is searching for, she will face a serious situation. So telling Timon's too early could cause chaos, while remaining silent could later feel like a betrayal. Eris and Layla are also reaching a difficult point because the search for Demir now affects their relationship more directly. Layla has feeling for Eris, but she is also connected to a very family he increasingly suspects. This makes every new discovery dangerous for them. Eris may want to protect Layla by keeping certain information away from her, but that will create another problem. Layla has already had reasons to question whether Eris will trust her. If he begins secretly investigating her family again, she may interrupt his silence as proof that he sees her as a part of the enemy side. Eris, however, may believe he is doing the opposite. He may think that if he tells her everything, she will be forced to choose between him and her family. Therefore, evidence is complete. This difference in thinking could create a painful distance between them. Neither person need to stop crying for the others. In fact, the relationship become more dramatic if both still care deeply but no longer know how to protect that both while the truth is becoming more dangerous. The romantic gestures become Eris and Layla may therefore represent a calm movement between a much larger conflict. Eris may try to remind Layla that his feelings for her are separate from his anger toward the Akaya family. He may want her to understand that he did not enter her family life as a part of the plan. Whatever started between them has become real. Let Layla may find it difficult to separate the two sides. If Eris eventually accesses hug on another person in their family of changing Damir's life, Layla will naturally demand proof. Eris may see her doubt as another sign that powerful families always protect themselves. Layla may see his certain as unfair because he is making conclusion before all facts are known. Their conflict would then come from understandable confusion rather than one person simply being wrong. This is important for the next stage because Layla could never become one of the people who help Eris prove the truth. But before she can do that, she may first need to experience a moment where her own truth is her family begins to break. That breaking point could come through something Layla sees rather than something Eris tells her. If some overhears Seconds and Sebna discussing Timon's past or sees them hiding a document, she may finally realize that Eris' suspicions are not based only on anger. That breaking point could come through something Lala see rather than something Aras tells us. If she overhears Hakan's and Sibnam discussing Timon's past or see them hiding a document, she may finally realize that Aras' suspicions are not based only on anger. It would be much stronger if Lala discovered the first unbelievable evidence herself. That way, her discussion to help Aras would come from her own experience rather than romantic loyalty. She might begin quietly checking family records, old photographs, or stories from years ago because she belonged to the Akaya family. She could reach places that Aras cannot. She could make Laila essential to solving the mystery. She may even discover that certain family photographs from Timon's early childhood began later than accepted, leaving an unexplained gap. A missing hospital record, a changed birth document, or an old photograph could become a clue. Laila investigation could place her in danger because if Akans realizes she is helping Aras, he may feel betrayed by his own doctor and respond more strongly than before. There is also a strong possibility that Aras will misprint one of the clues he finds at Damir's old home. A good mystery usually gives the main character some time that look like a clear answer but actually has another meaning. Aras may find a name connected with Damir and immediately amuse that person harmed his brother. He could confront someone too quickly, which may alert the people hiding the truth. This would fit Aras' personality because his emotions become stronger when Damir is involved. He has spent carrying the pain of losing his family, so patience becomes difficult when he believes he is close. His greatest strength is his determination, but the same determination can become his weakness when it turns into certainty because he has enough evidence. The strong story could use the create a setback. Aras may believe he has finally understood what happened, take a blood action, and then discover that the situation is more complicated. This will not make his search meaningless. Instead, this mistake could expose a deeper layer that would otherwise remain hidden. Sirhat's role remains important because he has had information capable of making Hakan nervous. The fact that Hakan has already acted to control his guests, but Sirhat now something directly connected with the family's past. Aras could begin to realize that finding Sarhat may be just as important as finding Damir's or record, but locating him will probably be difficult. Hakans could be leave such as important witness free if he believes Sarhat could reveal everything. The prediction here is that Sarhat may disappear for a period, making everyone uncertain whether he ran away, was hidden, or was forced into silence. Aras might follow financial records, a vehicle, a phone connection, or someone who worked for Hakans to learn where Sarhat has taken. This part of investigation could increase the physical danger. Aras no longer be exploring only family history. He would be interfering with action happening in the present. If Hakans believe Aras is close to finding Sarhat, he may stop seeing him as an annoying teenager and begin treating him as a serious threat. However, Sirhat may not tell Aras everything immediately, even if Aras reaches him. A man who has survived by using information for his own protection will not suddenly become completely honest. He may reveal only enough to save himself. He could tell Aras that damaged story is connected with an adoption, a changed identity, or a secret arrangement while refusing to name anyone involved. This partial truth could be a moment when Aras starts looking at Tamer's difference. Perhaps Sarhat gives him an age, a date, a location, or a description that matches information connected to Teoman's. Aras may initially reject the idea because accepting it would be emotionally overwhelming. He has spent years imagining damage somewhere far away. The possibility that his brother has become being close to him without either of knowing them would be almost impossible to process. For this reason, the series may delay the full recognition. Aras may receive evidence pointing toward Teoman's but convince himself that it cannot be true until one final proof removes every doubt. Teoman could go through the same process from the opposite side. Once he suspects adoption, he may begin looking for his biological family without knowing that Aras is already looking for him. He may search or record and discover that some files are missing or sealed. This could increase his frustration and make him suspect Sibnam even more. He may also secretly take every something from the house that could provide biological information such as an old medical record. If Teoman learned that his record birth information does not match other documents, the emotional impact will be enormous. He will start wondering wherever even his name belonged to his original life. The question will no longer be simply whether he was adopted. He will want to know how he was before becoming Teoman, that exactly where the name Damir could enter his story. The first time Teoman seeing that the hairs and name connected to his own past may not immediately produce a full memory, but it could create an emotional reaction we cannot explain. The most powerful variant of the revelation could not depend only on DNA. DNA can prove a biological connection, but the story has spent too much time building emotion around memory and identity for the answer to be only a medical result. A stronger path is the Eris and Teoman to discover the shared childhood details from the specific proof arrives. Perhaps Eris remembers something that only Damer would know, or Tamer remember a small event involving his older brother. It could be an object, a childhood injury, a family habit, a song without lyric being equated, a place, a nickname, or something about the accident. One detail could make both of them suddenly see each other differently, yet even then, shock may prevent an immediately happy reunion. Taman has alive another life for years. If he damaged, he cannot simply stop being Taman in one moment. His relationship with the family who raised him, his memories, his friendship, and his entire identity would still matter. Aris may accept emotional recognition, but Taman may need time to accept a brother he does not fully remember. This could become one of the era's hardest emotional lessons. His search has been driven by the belief that finding damage will repair the loss he has carried for years, but finding a person is not the same as restoring the past. If Timon returned out to be damaged, Aris will discover that his brother has gone into someone he does not completely know. Humans may not immediately call him family. He may even become angry because Aris' search has destroyed the stability of his life. Aris could feel rejected after sacrificing so much to find him. That reaction could be painful but realistic. Timon may need to grab the life story he thought was true before he can accept another one. He may also feel guilty about the comfort he had while Aris grew up in a difficult condition. Even though neither boy chose that happened, the difference between their lives could create emotional distance. This gives the series much more material than a simple reunion and make the brother story stronger after the truth is revealed. Sibnam would be deeply affected if Aras and Teoman being moved toward recognition. If fear may push her into increasingly separate decisions, she could try to make Teoman away from boredom, believing distance will stop the truth from reaching him. She may arrange a sudden trip or create a reason for him to leave Teoman. Already suspicious should immediately understand that something is wrong. If Sabnam attempts to separate him from Dennis as well, his resistance would become stronger. He may begin to say every protecting action and manipulation. This would hurt Sabnam because she might honestly love him as her son. The tragedy of her position could be that the more disrespectfully she tries to keep him, the faster she pushes him toward error. She may eventually understand that love cannot survive if it depends on a lie, but she may reach that understanding only after a marriage confrontation. Hakan's reaction could be very difficult, where Sabram responds emotionally. Hakans may think strategically. If he realizes that streamers could be damaged, he may calculate what his revelation would mean to her family, their public image, all legal decisions, and relationship inside the house. There could be a more at stake than personal embarrassment if damaged identity was changed through illegal action than documents, inheritance, custody, or other legal questioning could become dangerous. Hakan may therefore try to control not only the family but also the evidence. This could lead to an attempt to remove record from damaged old home or from the institution connected with his childhood. But Aras may already have copied something before Hakans can destroy it. The small decision could save the entire investigation. The possibility of the wider secret should also be taken seriously because the latest story direct suggests larger the first he believed. This may mean damage is not the only hidden truth. The people connected with his brother could also be connected with the accident that destroyed Aras' family. Up to this point, Aras may discover that people justified their action by claiming that Demir would have a better life where Alice. This could make the secret especially painful because the adults involved may not see themselves as cruel. They may argue that one child had the chance to grow up with wealth and protection rather than in an institution, but for Aras, no comfortable life could justify stealing his brother from him. This difference in moral thinking could create one of the strongest conflicts in the series. Hakans or Sibna may insist that they gave Taemons everything they could. Ares would see only the years he lost. Taemons would be trapped between those truths. He may love the people who raised him while also understanding that their choices caused deep pain to the biological brother. The story can become emotionally rich because there is no easy way for Taemons to choose one family without hurting another. Lala's position becomes even more complicated if Taemon is connected to Ares in this way. She would suddenly realized that the conflict between Aras and her family is not something outside her personal life. Her own brother figure may be Aras' lost brothers. The family structure she now could be built on a hidden decision that shaped Ara's entire childhood. Lala may feel ashamed even though she had nothing to do with it. She could also feel protective of Timon because she knows how valuable he will be after learning the truth. This may bring Lila and Aras closer in one way while creating new disagreements in another. Aras may want Tamas to leave the Kaya home immediately once he knows the truth. Lala may argue that forcing Taman into choosing too quickly will hurt him. She might become the person who helps Aras understand that fighting damage does not give him the right to decide what damage should feel. Dennis could play a similar balancing role from Taman's side. She may remind him that discovering another biological family does not erase the relationship that shaped him at the marriage. Same time, she may refuse to support lies that continue to hurt Aras. Dennis could become the bridge between the brothers before they know how to speak to each other emotionally. She may encourage Thomas to learn the whole truth instead of preaching only with anger. This could also develop Dennis beyond a romantic connection. She would become central to identify storyline because she is one of the few people without the same family interest. She does not need to protect the Kaya name and she has not spent years searching for damage like Aras that make her perspective more natural. Another interesting prediction is that Tamer may discover the connection between Aras. Thus, the story could reverse expectation by allowing the person who has forgotten his identity to reach the answer first. For example, Tamer might find an old photograph showing him as a child with Aras. He may recognize himself only because of scar, piece of clothing, or other detail. He could then spend some time secretly watching Aras, trying to understand where our person he wants was already discovered the truth. This would create strong communication tension because every normal interaction between them would carry a hidden meaning for Tamon. Eventually, however, he would not be able to remain silent. A different possibility is that both young men learn at almost the same time, therefore, for separate clues. Aras finds proof connecting Damage to Tamon, while Tamon finds proof connecting his childhood to Aras. They could then move toward one another, each carrying the same shocking information. This could create a powerful meaning without requiring another character to explain everything. The emotional weight would belong completely to them. Still, the first meeting after the truth should not solve every problem. Timon may depend to know why Ares is so certain. Ares may struggle to understand why his brother cannot simply remember him. The pain of those different experiences could lead to anger only later or after memories and evidence continue to build would the relationship begin to change. Before this relationship, however, the series is likely to put another obstacle in Ara's path. If the brother become too close too quickly, the mystery and between the emotional pressure reaches its highest point. Hakan or Sibnam could discover that Aras has found damaged old home like before he get the final proof. The house may suddenly be impacted, a witness code disappears, the record could be destroyed. Aras might arrive looking for one crucial item and find it gone. He would immediately know someone is following his investigation. That realization could make him change his method. Instead of openly questioning people, he may begin pretending that he has stopped searching. This would be a major development for Aras because it shows he is learning to fight Hakan with strategy rather than only courage. Aras might even deliberately give Hakkans false information to see how he reacts. If Aras claims he has discovered a particular name or location and Hakkans immediately sends someone there, Aras would know he has touched the right part of the secret. This kind of move would change their conflict. Hakkan is used to having more power, but Aras has something Hakkans cannot easily control. He has nothing more important than the truth. Money, reputation, and social position do not motivate him in the same way that make him unpredictable. Hakkans can threaten to remove him from a house or school, but he cannot remove the reason Aras is searching. Ara's greatest vulnerability remains the people he loves. If Hakan understands that direct pressure does not work, he may use Layla. He does not necessary to physical harm her. He could create conditions that make Aras believe continuing the investigation will destroy her relationship with her family or damage her future. Aras may be considered stepping away from the Laila's sake. This could create a strong internal conflict because for the first time he would be choosing between the brother he was searched for and the girl he loves. Yet Yala could surprise him by refusing to become the reason he gives up. Once she has enough evidence that her family is hiding something, she may insist on knowing the truth too. This would transform the relationship from a romance caught between two sides into a partnership. Although that partnership would remain fragile, There may also be a tension involving Dennis and Aris because previous emotional developments have same showed that Dennis has her own feelings and concerns surrounding him. However, the next stage should not turn into a simple romantic triangle. The family mystery is now more important. A stronger use of Dennis could be let her feelings create empathy rather than jealousy. She might recognize Sarah's pains while also becoming the main emotional support for the Tamers. This could place her in the unusual position of understanding both brothers before they understood each other. If she suspects the truth, she might initially keep it private because she does not want either of them to be hurt by an unconfirmed idea. Later, when the evidence becomes stronger, she may be forced to help them face it. The fire could also connect with Damir hidden past in the more direct way. Damir's strong reaction may suggest that he experienced a similar emergency when he was young. Perhaps there was another fire connected to where Damir lived after the family tragedy. If so, record from that event could become the missing link between his original identity and his later life as Timmins. An old report might list a child under one name before late documents used another. This could give Iris factual evidence that a name change happened. Even if the fire is not literally part of damaged childhood, Timmins' trauma may still unlock a memory from the accident involving Iris' family. The key point is that his mind is belonging to fight against the story he has been given. Sabna may recognize signs of those returning memories before Tamar understands them. They would explain why she became even more protective. She might remember how frightened he was during the first years he lived with them and realized that certain experience could bring his past back. Her fear could then be about memory, not simply documents. She knows that papers can be hidden, but she cannot control what Tamar remembered. This may push her to confess part of the truth. She would admit it that he has adopted while still hiding who his biological family was. She might hope that a partial confession will satisfy him. Instead, it will confirm that she has lied for years, making him more determined in cover everything. A partial confession would also allow Timon's emotional journal to develop in stages. First, he has learned he was adopted, then he learned his original identity may have been damaged. Finally, he learned the circumstances that separated him from Ares. Each stage can produce a different reaction. The adoption itself brings confusion, the name brings shock, the separation brings anger. This reason behind the separation determines whether forgiveness is possible. If all of this arrives at once, the character has little time to process. Is a slower revelation would create much stronger drama. Aras may also discover that his memories are not completely reliable. He was young when his family was broken apart, and trauma can leave gaps. Perhaps he remembered Damir in a way shaped by the year of longing. When he meet the person Damir become, he may keep searching for the brother in front of him. Damir may dislike this because he does not want to be treated as a memory. This difference could lead to the important moment where Aras finally understands that loving his brother means accepting who he is, now rather than trying to recreate the past. The emotional change may be more important than any mystery clue. If the Tamar is not damaged, the adoption clue could instead function as a major misdirection. Is that variant Hammond's hidden past would still connect to the same network of the secret without making them him Aras brothers. Perhaps Tammuz and Damir passed through the same home or institution. Tammuz could remember damage, or this adoption record would lead Aras to the person who arranged Damir's disappearance. This possibility should not be ignored because the series may deliberately make the audience believe the most obvious answer before changing direction. Tamir questioning whether he is adopted and the Aras reaching Damir's old home at the same time strongly invite viewers to connect them. That may be the interesting truth, but it would also be careful designed false answer. A prediction video show should therefore be considered both parts. If Tamir is not Damir, it would accept that the return to the make him the key witness to what happened to the Damir. His missing childhood memories would include another boy living near him. He may discover that he and Damir were moved through the same system and that their identities were changed for different reasons. This would explain the story beyond one family secret and recreate the larger truth that Aras is said to be approaching. The mystery could involve several adults who used their influence to control where children were placed. In that case, Hakon's fear will come from his connection to much wide wrongdoing. Aras finding his brother would remain the emotional goal, but exposing the system that separated them would become the larger conflict. Still, the stronger emotional direction at this moment point toward a close connection between Timon and Damir. The series has spent too much time building both young men around, questioning of family belonging and hiding history for the parallel or to feel accidental. Aras grew up knowing he had lost his family, but refusing to stop searching. Timers grew up believing the that he had family while slowly describing that something because his past does not fit. Once now he lost but not the answer. The other now the life he has but not the truth behind it. Putting those two parts together would allow the series to explore that truly what makes someone's family. The next part is therefore likely to move less like a normal search and more like two separate investigations racing toward the same secret. Aras will come, Ming gathering external evidence. Timmons will continue getting internal evidence through memory and documents. Lala will begin questioning what her family has hidden. Dennis will become more involved in Timmons' emotional crisis. Simran will try come to control emotional information. Hackers will try to control people. Serhat will remain dangerous because he knows enough to connect past and present. These pieces are now positioned around one central position, and the writer can move them closer without giving the answer immediately. Aras could soon discover something in Damer's old home that appears ordinary to everyone else but has personal meaning to him. A children object would be especially effective because it cannot be easily explained by official documents. If he recognizes something that belongs to Damer, it confirms that he is finally standing in the correct place. The emotional fact may barely ever blame him. For years, Damer has existed in his mind almost like a promise, touching something his brother used later in this life would make this search reveal in a new way. But that moment of the hope could quickly turn into the pain when he learned that Damer feel the hours a long ago. A former neighbor or caretaker may provide the next clue instead of remembering Damer's original name. This person may remember the family that visited him, the car they used, or the fact that a wealthy woman showed unusual interest in the boy. The system could point fact that a wealthy woman should show unusual interest towards Shabnam. Aras may not accuse her immediately, but he still starts watching her. This creates a strong opportunity for a scene where Aras enters the Kaya environment with completely different eyes. Small interaction between Shabnam and Tamar may certainly look suspicious to him. Similarities between Tamar and his childhood memories of Tamar may become impossible to ignore. Aras may begin quickly comparing details. He could think about Page, physical mass, total fears, or other facts. At first, the idea may seem impossible because Timon has been presented to him under a completely different identity, but mystery stories often reaches their turning point when the hero stops asking where the missing person went and began asking whether the missing person has been in front of him all along. This would be that moment of the arrest. He may then face a difficult decision about whatever to approach Timon directly. If he asked to Son, Timon could tell his family, giving Hakan and Sabnam time to remove evidence. If he stays silent, he must continue interacting with someone who may be his brother while pretending nothing has changed. Aras might choose silence until he has proved that choose could create emotional tension because viewers could understand why the every interaction suddenly matter more to him. Tamans may notice his change in Aras. He would become more suspicious of way Aras keeping looking over at him or asking questioning about his childhood because Taman is already questioning his identity. Aras' strange behavior may make him uncomfortable. He might accuse Aras of the interfering with his family problems. Again, this does not require dialogue in the prediction. The important development is that the two boys would become more tense just before discovering their connected. That contrast would make the later revelation much stronger. Meanwhile, hackers may notice Aras watching Damon. This could be a moment when hackers realize that the secret is nearly exposed. His behavior may become more urgent. He may instruct Sebnam to take Damon away or ask someone to deal with Aras' evidence, but Sebnam could refuse if she believes hackers' aggressive method will emotionally him. This would create conflict between the adults who have previously been united in the keeping the past hidden. These agreements may expose information that would otherwise remain secret. Some might finally expose accounts of being responsible for the situation becoming dangerous. Perhaps she wanted to tell Timons the truth years earlier, but Hakan's strange silence was safer. And if that in the case, her guilt will have another layer. She has not only hiding the truth, she may have spent any years obeying a discussion. She secretly questions now that Timon is asking direct questioning. She may no longer be willing to follow Hakan's plan. The first major crack in Street the Akaya family would become more from the Sebnam choosing her son over the family secret. Laila may witness his conflict and realizing that something much larger is happening. She would begin remembering moments from childhood when adults sage gave strange explanations about immense details. She never questioned, the children may suddenly become meaningful. This is another powerful way to reveal clues naturally. Instead of finding a conflict documents, Laila Oman memories can show that the family story always contained gap. As Laila moved closer to the truth, her relationship with Iris could change again. She may understand why he refused to stop searching but she could also be hurt that he suspected Emmons without telling her. Iris may explain through his action that he was waiting for proof rather than trying to divide her. The relationship will survive only if both begin sharing information instead of protecting each other through silence. This could make their next emotional lessons. The larger prediction for the coming story is that the series is preparing that got no revelation but a chain of revelations. First comes proof that Timon's past is different from what he believed. That comes evidence that his history connected to Damir. Then comes the truth about the range of separation. Finally comes the deeper reason that powerful people were involved at the all. Each answer will create the next question. The first major cliffhanger could occur when Arab find a photograph or record containing both Damir's old identity and data clearly point towards Timon. He may not yet have DNA proof, but the connection becomes too strong to ignore. At almost the same time, Timon could recover a memory of Arabs from childhood. This would leave the boys at the edge at the same truth. Lala may witness all this conflict and realize that something much larger is happening. She could begin remembering moment from childhood. Malada's gave strange explanation about him as her details she never questioned as a child may suddenly become meaningful. This is another powerful way to reveal clue naturally. Instead of finding a content document, Lala human memories can show that the family story always contains gaps. As Lala moved closer to the truth, her relationship with others could change again. She may understand why he refused to stop searching, but she could also be hurt that he suspected him without telling her. Harris may explain through his action that he was waiting for proof rather than trying to deserve her. The relationship will survive only if both begin sharing information instead of protecting each other through silence. This could become their next emotional lessons. The larger prediction from the coming story is that the series will point not one revelation but a chain of the revelations. First come proof that Timon's past is different from what he believed. Then comes evidence that his story is connected to damage. Then comes the truth about who lays the separation. Finally comes the deeper reason that powerful people were involved. Each answer will create the next question. The first major cliffhanger could occur when Iris find a photograph record containing both a damage could identify and detail that clearly point toward Timmons. He may not be yet have DNA proof, but the connection becomes too strong to ignore at them. Almost the same time, Timmons could recover a memory of Iris from childhood. This would leave both boys at the end of the same season. The second cliffhanger could involve someone finally attending observation that Timmons would then know his suspicions were correct, but still not know his original family. This is trust in Sapna would collapse temporarily. He may leave the house in anger and go to the person he believed he not believing, hiding anything from him. Likely Dennis. This could give Dennis and given larger role because she would be the person or the hair demonstrate that his entire family may be false. As meanwhile may be searching for him for a completely different reason. Yet FRS already suspect the brother connection. These urgency will increase after Timmons leave. Hackens may also be trying to fight Timmons before RS reaches him. This creates the possibility of the race when three sides want to take the same motion for different reasons. Yet events may not allow them much time. Hawkins' actions could expose the truth accidentally if he appears and urgently tries to separate Timmons and Ares. Then Timmons will understand that Ares is somehow connected to the secret. His suspicions will become impossible to contain. He may then begin demanding complete answer from everyone. At that stage, the old balance of power disappears. Hacken can control documents but not Timmons questions. Sundam can ask for patience but cannot return into the ignorance. Lala cannot continue pretending the family secret has nothing to do with her. Ares control return to the begging only an outsider searching from cause a distance. Everyone will be forced into a same conflict. This is why the latest development feel like a turning the point for Daha 17. The series began with a young boy looking for the brother he lost. It is now becoming a story about what happens when buried family decisions return through a children who were never allowed to know the truth. Aras has spent years believing that knowledge will set him free, but he may soon discover that knowledge can create new pain before it creates freedom. Damon has spent years before living inside a stable identity, but he may soon discover that identity can survive even when its history changes. The emotional center of the next story should therefore remain the two young men rather than the mystery alone. Hakan, Sabnam, Lala, Danish and Sirat can move the plot, but the deepest question along to Aras and Theman, if they are brothers, can they build a relationship after growing up as a stranger? If they are not brothers, can Theman will still help Aras uncover that happens to Damon? Either directions bring them closer through the same theme of the stolen childhood truth. My main prediction is that Aras will soon receive enough evidence to strongly suspect that Tamaz and Damir are connected, but the series will stop just before giving complete proof. At the same time, Tamaz's returning memories will make him realize that the Kaya Variam of his childhood is impossible to accept. Sibna will become increasingly separate. Hakan will make a risky move to remove evidence. Laila will begin investigating her own family, and Dennis will protect Taman while quietly turning to understand what his memories mean. The greatest surprise may come when Aras discovers that the secret did not begin with Damir's disappearance. It began earlier, around the destruction of his family. Someone may made a decision at the time that changed the life of both brothers. That person may still be present. This will turn Aras' search from a personal mission into a direct challenge against the people who shaped his childhood without his knowledge. Aras may finally understand why every road seems to lead back toward the same family. It is not because he has been unlucky. It is because the missing piece of his own history were placed inside the world he is now investigating. Boredom was never only the place where he began to search. It may be the place where the answer has been living all along. For Timon, the next stage will be even more frightening because he has more to lose in the present. Aras grew up in the absence, so truth represents hope to see. Timon grew up with the family and identity, so truth represents possible destruction. The difference can create conflict even if they discovered they are brothers. Aras may such rush toward the answer while Timon pull away from it. The emotional opposite could become the strongest part of the story. Aras may think Tamaz is refusing him while Tamaz is actually trying to protect himself from losing everyone at once. Dennis may be the first person who understands this difference. Laila may later help Aras understand it as well. Eventually, Tamaz will have to decide whether he wants to know everything. No one should be able to make that choice for him. If he chooses to continue investigating despite the pain, it will mark the beginning of his independence from Hackers and Sibna. He will no longer allow there to decide which truth he can handle. Aras will face a similar choice once he realizes that exposing the secret truth hurt him. He present Tamans, he must be decided whether finding the complete truth is still worth every cost. I believe he will continue, but his reason will change. At the first, he searched because he wanted his brother back. Later, he will search because Tamir, whoever he has become, deserves to know what happened. Their shift will show Aras becoming more mature. His search will stop being only about filling the empty place in his own life. It will become about giving his brother the right to choose his future with full knowledge of his past. Hacker may underestimate this change. He may believe he can make Aras stop by making the truth painful. Instead, pain may strengthen Aras because he has already survived years of it. Hakan's strongest weapon is fear of losing something. Aras has already lived through loss which make him difficult to control. Sabnam, however, may eventually understand Aras better than Hacker does. She may see that keeping the boys apart will no longer protect him, and this could lead to an unexpected change. Whether she becomes the person who finally provides the missing evidence, she may do it not because she suddenly supports Aras, but because she realizes Taeman will never trust her again without the truth. If Sabnam takes the step, Hakan could see it as betrayal. Their relationship may break the weight of the secret. The family that appeared powerful from outside could begin falling apart from inside, not because Aras defeat them with force, but because it questioning make their hidden agreements possible to maintain. Laila will then have to decide what kind of family loyalty she believes in. She may conclude that protecting people does not mean protecting their lives. This could place her clearly beside Aras, while still allowing her to care about Hakkans and Sebnam. Her choice will not be simple rejection, it will be a demand for the honesty. The next part of the Daha 17 could therefore transform almost every relationship at once. Aras and the Laila may become closer, shared investigation, but face more emotional pressure. Tamaz and Dennis may deepen their trust as he confronts his identity. Shebnam and Hakan may divide over how much truth to reveal. Tamar and Lala may questioning the meaning to their sibling relationship. Aras and Tamar may move from areas to distance toward a connection neither expected. The story can also explore how class and privilege affected the two boys. If Tamar became Tamar and entered a wealthy life while Aras grew up without that protection, neither her brother is responsible for the difference, yet the construct will be impossible to ignore. Aras may look at the Tamar's life and wonder why one child was chosen for comfort while the other was left behind. Tamar may look at the Aras and feel guilty for advantages he never asked to receive. The guilt could make Tamar initially avoid Aras. He may feel there is nothing he can say that will repair this year they lost. Aras may mistreated and the dad distance as ignorance. Their relationship could begin with painful misunderstanding before they slowly recognize that both were victims of decisions made by adults. The best outcome would not be immediate forgiveness for everyone. Daha 17 has the opportunity to show that learning the truth is only the beginning. Aras may find damage but still need to build a brotherhood. Tamar may discover his biological identity but still need to decide how Tamar and David can exist inside the same person. Laila may learn what her family did but still love them. Shebnam may admit the truth but still face responsibility for years of silence. And Hakan may discover that power could not permanently control memory. He may succeed in hiding papers, moving people, or creating false explanation, but he cannot stop the young characters from comparing their experience. Only Aras, Laila, Tamar, and Dennis begin sharing information. The secret will become impossible to contain. That is where believed the story is heading. Aras' arrival at Damir hold home is beginning of the final stage of the secret, not the end. Tamar's adoption suspicious is the secret, a part toward the same hidden history. The fire has shaken lost memories that they were previously buried. Shebnam now more than she is ready to admit. Hakan understands that Aras is becoming serious threat. Laila is being pushed toward a choice between comfortable belief and difficult truth. Dennis is becoming the person Tamar can trust when his own family story begins collapsing. The next major discovery that will probably be small in the appearance but enormous is meaning. It may not immediately prove that Tamar is damaged. Instead, it will remove one more impossible barrier between the two identities. A date will match, a location will match, a childhood detail will match, then another clue will follow. The writers can build the truth step by step until both Aras and Tamar can no longer deny what is in front of them. When that happens, the story will reach its most emotional question so far. Aras will finally the standing close to the person he has searched for across years of the pain, but he may still have to wait for the person to choose him. Tamar may finally know where he came from, but accepting Aras will mean accepting that part of his life was built on information kept from him. Neither young man will receive an easy victory. This is why the next part of Daha 17 may be less about finding Tamar physically and more about finding Tamar inside the life that Tamar was built. If Tamar truly is Tamar, Aras has already almost completed the geographical search. What remains is the emotional search. He must reach the part of his brother that remember trust and eventually trust is the connection. If Tamar is not damaged, the same investigation will still bring Aras closer than ever because Tamar had an adoption story will open the door that Hakan and Shebnam has spent years keeping close. Either way, Tamar has now become one of the most important key to Aras' mission. The final prediction to his section is that Aras will not receive a simple reunion in the immediate next stage. He will receive something from complicated proof that changes the direction of the entire search. He will begin seeing Tamar through a new lens, while Tamar will begin seeing his own family through a new lens. And their two mysteries will move toward each other until a confirmation makes separation impossible. Hakan will attempt to delay Laila that confession. Shebnam will attempt to stop it. Laila will attempt to understand it. Dennis will attempt to help Tamar survive emotionally, but the Aras keep moving because he has already come too far to accept another carefully prepared by him. And then the truth finally begins breaking through. The biggest shock may not be that Aras found his brother. The biggest shock may be discovering how long his brother was hidden in the plain sight, how many people knew pieces of the story, and how many decisions were made while Aras was too young to defend of his own family. That discovery will change the meaning of everything that came before. Every warning Aras received will look different. Every strange reaction from the Kaya family will gain a new meaning. Time and unexplained memories will become evidence rather than confusion. Shebnam's fear will become understandable even if her choices remain wrong. Hakan's determination to control Aras will reveal just how dangerous the past is for him. Most importantly, Aras will understand that finding Tamar was never only about going to the correct address. brother's disappearance was connected to identify memory, power, family, loyalty, and choices made by adults who believed children who would never grow enough to ask questions. But Aras did grow up. Thomas grew up as well. Now both are asking questions at the same time, meanwhile making their answer more emotionally. That is why secret is finally beginning to collapse. Now the next episode of Daha 17 therefore being Aras closer to the answer than he has ever been, while making that answer more emotionally difficult than he imagined. He may enter the coming events believe that discovering damaged location will end his suffering. Instead, he is likely to discover that the real journey began once the hidden identity come into views. Aras will have to decide what begins the brother means when years have turning family into strangers. Timon will have to decide whether truth about blood changes the family he already know. Layla will have to decide whether love can survive when her family stand on the other side of Aras' investigation. Dennis will have to decide how much truth Raymond is ready to hear. Sabnam will have to decide whether protecting her son means hiding the past or finally revealing it. Hacker will have to decide how far he is willing to go when his control begins slipping away. Those are decisions rather than one simple mystery answer are what can carry Daha 17 into the strongest part. The search for Demir has now reached a point where every major character can be changed by the result. Aras may finally be only one step away from his brother, but the last step could become the hardest step of his entire journey. In the next part of the Daha 17, the story can move into a much more dangerous stage because Aras is no longer searching in the darkness. He has finally reached a place that can contact Demir missing years with the people who are living around him today, and this changing is the wild meaning of the investigation. Until now, Aras has often being forced to follow small clues without knowing whether they could lead everyone. He has suffered disappointment many times, and every failed lead has made him more emotional. Now, however, he has reached a point where the clues are beginning to support each other. One name leads toward another person, one location connected with the old even one hidden reaction create each another question. Aras may slowly realize that he did not come to burden any chance. The answer he has spent years looking for may have been close to the powerful family that he is now connected with through Layla. The realization will make him more careful. This way he will understand that if someone has been hiding damage story from many years, that person will not simply allowed Aras to walk into the truth. The closer he gets, he more dangerous the people around the secret will become. That is why the next stage may show a different Aras. He will still be emotional, but he may finally understand that anger alone cannot defeat people who have spent years protecting a secret. He will have to think before acting, watch before accusing, and collect more power before showing anyone what he knows. The biggest change may begin after Aras look more carefully at the information connected with Demir old home. At the first, he may accept to find a direct answer, something simple that tells him where his brother went after living there. Instead, the information could create another mystery. The date when Demir left that place may also strange event in the Kaya family's past. It may be the same period when Taman's first appeared in family photograph, for the same year when Sibnam's life changed in the same. Nobody has properly explained. Aras could notice this connection without immediately understanding it. He may write down the dates and compare them again and again. The more he studies them, he less they like a confidence. This that would be first moment when Aras seriously considered that Demir may not have simply disappeared into another city. Someone could have given him another identity. If that thought entered Aras' mind, his search changes completely. Instead of searching only for men named Demir, he must begin asking who Demir may have become. That possibility will frighten Aras because it means he may have walked past his own brother without knowing him. He has carried one image of Demir for years, an image built from childhood memories and the pain of separation. In Aras' mind, Demir is still the younger brother he promised himself he would find. He has probably imagined her reunion hundreds of the times. He may have thought about Demir would say whether he could remember him and whether they would immediately feel like brother again. But if Demir now he has another name, another family, another life, Aras' imagined reunion will suddenly seem impossible. He will begin to understand that even if he finds his brother, he cannot return to the day when they are separated. Time was changed both of them. This thought may take Aras more emotional than any physical danger he faced. Finding Demir as always his greatest hope, but now that hope is becoming fixed with fear. At the same time, Taman now Ask will become more difficult to control. His doubt about his childhood will not disappear simply because his family want him to calm down. Once a person begins wondering whether the story of his own birth is false, every old memory can suddenly look suspicious. Taman may begin thinking about family photograph, hospital stories, birthday, childhood illness, and small comments adults made when he was younger. Things that once meant nothing may now look like sign. He could remember asking about his baby photograph and being given a big explanation. He may remember that Stephen always became nervous when he wanted to know detail about his eldest year. He might think about why certain relatives behave differently toward him or why people seem to know something they never said aloud. These thoughts could make him awake or write. The fire may make his emotions even harder to manage because it is already shaken something inside him. Instead of returning to normal after the danger passes, Timon may become more determined to understand why the experience affecting him so strongly. Dennis is likely to see the changes before many others to do. She may notice that Timon is that he loses focus when people speak to him or that he begins asking questions that have nothing to do with the fire itself. She probably understands that his fear is connected with something older. Dennis may not know the truth, but she can see that Timon is not pretending. This could create a new kind of closeness between them, but Timon has often tried to protect himself with jokes, confidence, and anger, but his situation leaves him with no easy defense. He cannot make a joke about nothing, not knowing who is he. He cannot fight a memory he does not understand. Dennis may therefore become one of the few people in front of whom he stops up acting strong. She could simply stay near him and allow him to think without judging him. That sport may become more important than any romantic moment because it shows Timon that someone who cares about him without needing to control his choices. Timon may eventually decided that asking Sydenham directly will not give him the whole truth. Her behavior will probably confirm his suspicious even when her words do not ever pause. Every attempt to change the subject and every emotional reaction can tell him that something is being hidden. Timon may then start his own investigation. Unlike Ares, he has access to the Akaya home and family belongings. He may search through old boxes, documents, photographs, letters, or stereo spaces that nobody expected him to check. He could find a file containing a different date from one he knows as his birth. He may discover that some papers were created years after he has supposedly born. A medical record might begin when he was already several years old. None of these details would prove everything on their own, but together they would make it almost impossible for Timon to continue believing the old family story. The secret search could begin Timon dangerously close to the Ares investigation without either boy knowing it. Imagine Ares following the name of the Demir old home while Timon finds the same name written in the forgotten family documents. Ares thinks the name belonged to someone who had moved Demir. Timon thinking it belonged to someone involved in his adoption. Both are following the same person for different reasons. This would be a strong way to move the mystery forward because if viewers could understand the connection before the character do. Ares and Timon could even visit the same place on different days. One may leave only minutes before the other arrives. The story could repeatedly bring them close to the same answer while delaying the final moment when they compare that they know. Hacker will probably be the first adult to understand how dangerous this situation has become. Ares searching for outside was already a problem, but Timon searching from inside the family is much more worse. Hackers can try to keep Ares away from records, but he cannot easily stop become too aggressive. Timon will now that suspicious are correct. Timon from asking questions inside his own home without making himself look ugly. If Hackers become too aggressive, Timon will know that his suspicions are correct. This may force Hackers to pretend that he knows less than he really does. He could act calm, tell Timon that every family has confusing old records and suggest that Sydenham is simply emotional because she wants to protect him, but Timon may no longer accept such easy explanation. Hacker normal's power come from controlling the room and making other people doubt themselves. Timon's personal need for the truth, it will make that control weaker. Hacker may therefore choosing a different strategy with Ares instead of trying to frighten him away. He could suddenly become helpful. This would immediately make Ares suspicious, could provide him with no information about Demir that seem valuable, encourage him in the search in other direction. The same information may even be partly good. Perhaps Turner remembered staying in another place for the short period. Perhaps a real person did not know. Hackens confessed true pieces of the past to hide the other important truth. Ares may follow the new lead because cannot ignore anything connected to his brother, but he will probably keep questioning why Hackens has suddenly changed. If the new path ends without any answer, Ares may realize that that the was deliberately sent away from the something important. This could lead Ares to test Hacken rather than openly accusing him. Ares may pretend that the false lead worked. He could act as though he believed Damon left Bottom years ago and that his search will continue somewhere else. Hacken might relax from the moment believing the danger has passed. Then it is when Ares can watch And what Hackens does next, if Hackens suddenly orders someone to remove all documents or contracts Ibn about Tiamon's, Iris will know that his suspicion was correct. This could show important growth in Iris because he would be using patience instead of emotion. He is learning that his enemies reveal more when they believe they have won. Layla may become caught in the middle of this silent battle. She will notice that Iris is behaving differently around her family. He may be kind to her but distant. Whenever Hacken enters the room, Layla may ask herself whether Iris has found something he is not telling her because their relationship has already been tested by secret and loyalty. She may not want another period where both of them hide important things, but yet Iris could believe that telling her too early he would put her in danger. He may know that Layla start asking a question. Hacken will immediately realize that Iris was not stop searching. Iris may therefore keep his plan in private, not because he distrusts Layla, but because he wants to keep Hackens calm. Layla may not understand that reason from her point of view. Iris' silence can feel another wall between them. She has already given him emotional support and she may accept him to trust her when the situation becomes difficult. If she senses that he is investigating Timur or her family without explaining why, she could becoming hurt, but this time Layla may not simply walk away. Instead, she may begin investigating on her own. She knows her family habit and can recognize unusual behavior in way Iris cannot. She may notice Ebna moving old belongings, Hackens making secret calls on an important family document suddenly disappearing. Layla could quietly follow these clues without telling either Iris or her family. This creates the possibility that Layla discover one part of the secret before Iris. Perhaps she find an old photograph showing Sabnam with a child around the same age. Damir would have been taken there for the official family story. Say Tamir entered their lives. The child face may not be completely clear, but something about the photograph could disturb her. Maybe there is a writing on the back with the date and a different name. Lala may not know what the name means, but Iris could recognize it immediately if he saw it. This put Lala in a difficult emotional position. She can either show Iris and risk confirming his bold suspicion about her family or hide the photograph and become part of the same silence as she started to hate Lala. Can grow strongly if she chooses truth, even when truth hurt her own family. She does not need to immediately accuse Hakan or Sebnam. She can first try to understand what happened. She may believe there is explanation what makes the past less terrible than it appears, but as she collects more information, she could realize that certain facts cannot explain anything. Someone hid a child identity. Someone kept Iris from knowing what happened to his brother. Whether the original decision was made from kindness, fear, or selfishness, years of the silence turned it into something most worse. Sebnam's emotional state may become one of the most important part of the story. Unlike Hackens, who may focus on the control, Sabnam could begin breaking under the pressure. She says Tam is suffering because he feels that his pain is past. As if she truly loves him, every lie will become harder to continue. She may watch him searching through photographs and remember the first day he entered her life. She could remember promises made years ago and begin questioning whether those promises were right. Maybe she was told that hiding the truth was necessary to protect the child. Maybe she convinced herself that one day she could him, but years passed that every years made the confusion harder. Now Tamar is discovering the truth here, which is exactly what she feared. The story may show Simran preparing to confess something timely, but which is exactly that she feared. The story may show Sabnam preparing to confess several times and then stopping. She might go to Taman's room, see him sleeping or emotionally exhausted and decide that is not the right moment. She may start explaining something but become afraid when he asks a direct question. Her hesitation will not protect him, it will only make him feel more certain that she is hiding something. Eventually Tamans may tell her about his actions that he no longer wants comfortable answer. He wants the truth even it is painful. A turning point could happen when Taman's finding proof that he was not born into the family. This proof may not tell him who his biological parents, but it could be remove all the doubts about adoption. At the moment his relationship with Steve Sabnam changes immediately. He may feel that every memory of his childhood has been damaged. He could questioning where family celebration stories about his birth and things he has told about himself are invested. His first reaction may be anger rather than sadness because anger is easier to carry. He may leave the house, ignore calls and refuse to hear explanation. Dennis could be the person he goes to because he represents a place where nobody is trying to control the story. She may find him confused and unable to decide whether he want answer or want to forget everything. Her role will not be choose for him. Instead, she may help him understand that learning he was adopted does not mean every lying movement in his childhood was false. People may have lied about his past while still genuinely loving him in the present. This difference will be difficult for Timon to accept, but it will eventually become important if he sees every part of his life as a lie. He could destroy relationships that are real even though their beginning was hiding. Iris, meanwhile, may hear that Timon was suddenly left the Kaya house after a family argument. At first, he may or may not why, but if he was already begun suspecting a connection between Timon and David, the news will worry him. He may fear that Hackens or Sivnam family told Timon something. Iris could try to find him, but he will have to decide whether to reveal his own suspicions. This could become one of the most emotional moments of the story. Iris may stand close to Timon, knowing that his person could be his brother, while Timon is already struggling with the news that his family history is false. Iris may want to fall him everything immediately, yet he could realize that doing so could place another huge shock on the top of the first one. This is where Iris can show real maturity. Instead of forcing his own need for answers onto Timon, he may hold back. He could simply make sure Timon is safe and continue searching for proof. For Iris, this would be extremely difficult. Every part of him wants to know whether his brother has finally been found, but he may begin understanding that if Timon and Damit, the Timing also has the right to discover the truth in the way he can survive emotionally. The possibility that Timon is dreaming will also force us to think differently about the Kaya family. Until now, he may have viewed them mainly as powerful people who stand between him and the truth. But if they raise Damit, the situation become more complicated. They have begun his brother education, protection, comfort, and love. Iris could hate the decision that separated them, while also seeing that Timon has real emotional bonds with the people who raised him. But this completely will change Iris as because he has spent years imagining the people responsible for this loss as enemies. The truth may not be that simple. There could be an older character connected with Damit's past who explain how the separation happened. This person may have worked at the hospital, children, some social office, or another place connected to the aftermath of Iris' family tragedy. Iris might locate them through the records from Damit's old home. At the first, the person who refused to speak because powerful people were involved. They may be afraid of legal trouble or relationship. Iris would have to convince them that he is not looking for revenge alone. He need to know what happened to his brother. The witness may reveal that Damir was alive after Iris believed he had been lost, but circumstances separated the brother before they could be united. Perhaps Damir was injured or unable to clearly identify himself. Maybe he remembered only pieces of his name. Someone could have taken advantage of that confusion. Another possibility is that adults believe Iris and Damir had no surviving family able to care for them, so different decisions were made of each other at the same point. An unofficial agreement and could have changed Damir's path permanently. The most painful possibility is that someone knew Iris was searching and still chose not to reunite the brothers. If Iris seemed learned, his anger will become much stronger, and accidental separation can be forgiven more easily than a deliberate choice to keep brothers apart. Iris may demand to know why anyone thought they had the right to decide that Emir was better without him. The answer may involve money, fear, social position, or a belief that Iris could not give Damir a stable future. None of those reasons will matter to Iris. He will see only the childhood years that were stolen from them. Hacken's role in the decision could be revealed slowly. He may have been the same person originated from Damir, but he may have learned the truth later and agreed to keep it hidden. This would explain why he is so concerned about Iris' investigation now. Hackens may argue, at least in his own mind, that revealing everything years later would only damage Damon. He may believe that the past cannot be changed, so exposing it serves no purpose. This given Hackens a more complex motivation than simple selfishness, but it does not remove his responsibility by continuing the lie. He takes away Damon's right to know his own history and Iris' right to know what happened to his brother. Sebnem could have a different level of responsibility. Perhaps she knew Damon was adopted but did not know every detail about his biological family at first. Later, when she discovered more, she may have become afraid of losing him. That fears could be the reason she accepted Hacken's plan to remain silent. If Subram's greatest mistake is not taking the child into her family but allowing left to become possession, she may have convinced herself that telling Tamar about Iris would mean losing her son, so she chose silence. When Tamar eventually learned this, he may feel deeply betrayed. He could understand why a mother might be afraid, but he may still ask why her fears careers were considered more important than his identity. This conflict can become one of the strongest emotion part of the series. Taemin may not stop loving Sebnem, yet trust between them could break for a long time. She will have to accept that protecting a relationship through lies can eventually damage the relationship more than truth would have. Laila may become the person who helps Sebnem understand this. Laila will also be hurt by the secret, but she may see both sides. She loves her family and cares about Hera. She may tell Sebnem through her actions, but the truth is coming out where the adults want it or not. The only choice left is whether they reveal it honestly or allow Taemin and Aras to discover it in the most painful way. The mystery could move faster when Aras finds an object connected to Damer. It may be something small from childhood that only Aras would recognize, a toy, photograph, drawing, piece of clothing, or a personal item could prove that damage rarely lived at the place Aras has found on the object. There may be a mark, date, or a letter name that links it in with time. This could be stronger emotional than a simple paper because Aras could physically hold something belonging to the brother he lost. He may take the object with him and keep it hidden. Later, Taemin could see it by accident. The object may trigger a sudden memory. Taemin might not understand why he recognized it. He may feel that he has seen or touched it before, even though he cannot explain. When Aras would immediately notice his reason, that single moment would change everything. Aras may then begin testing Taemin memory carefully. He could bring up place or events from childhood without telling him why. If Taemin reacts to details connected to Damin, Aras' suspicions will grow. However, this approach carries a risk. Taemin may feel that Aras is playing with him at the worst moment of his life. If he discovers that Aras is back at their brothers, but he has finally secretly testing him, he could become angry. Aras will have to learn that Taemin is not only a clue in his investigation, he is a person whose entire identity may be changing. Dennis may become suspicious of Aras' behavior as well because she spent time near Taemin. She will notice when Aras asks unusual question or watches him closely. Dennis could confront Aras emotionally, believing he is using Taemin for information. Aras may then have to share part of the suspicions with her. Only Dennis. Once Dennis said that Taemin could be connected with the Damir, she will probably shock, but also beginning to admit Taemin's strange reaction and childhood question. She may realize the idea is not impossible. This put Dennis in the difficult situation. Taemin trusts, but Dennis asks her not to say anything until there is a proof. Keeping such a secret from Taemin would make Dennis uncomfortable. She could understand why Aras won uncertainly, while also knowing that Taemin has already suffered from the people hiding his past. Dennis may eventually decide that she cannot participate in another lie. She might encourage Aras to tell Taemin enough to let him make his own choice. This disagreement can give the moral tension. Is that kinder to wait for complete proof before revealing something life-changing, or is waiting is simply another form of controlling Taemin's right to know? Aras will be roving, believe he is protecting him. Dennis may argue more through her action that too many people have already used protection as a reason for silence. This could influence Aras to become more open before he get that chance. Hakan may act. If Hakan realizes Aras has found physical evidence, he could try to take it. He might send someone to search Aras' room or belongings. This would show some disrespect he has become. Aras may return and notice that something has been moved. Rather than panic, he might understand that the object is more important than he realized. If he has already been taken, Aras could use Hakan's action as proof that the clue mattered. The thefty may also create another witness. Benz, Oslam, or someone close to Aras could see a person entering the room or notice unusual behavior. This could put Aras' friends more deeply into the mystery. They have spotted him before, but now the danger surrounding his search may affect him directly. Aras could feel guilty because he does not want his friend hurt because of Damir. He may try to push them away from the investigation, but they may refuse to leave him alone. This friendship side of the story is important because Aras' obsession with Damir can sometimes make him forget the family he has built through friendship. The friends have stood beside him during difficult periods. As Aras gets closer to finding his biological brother, the story may remind him that family can also be chosen through loyalty. This lesson may later help him understand Taemin's complicated feeling towards the Kaya areas now better than anyone. That blood is important, but he knows that people who stand beside you can become family too. The youth home and the truth of the separation from earlier events can continue affecting Aras emotionally. He has already fought against losing another home, another group of the family he cares about. That experience may make him more sensitive to Taemin's fears of losing the only family structure he knows. At first, Aras might believe Taemin should immediately leave the Akaya. If the truth is revealed later, he may recognize that being forced to lose a home is painful, even when that home contains secret. This understanding can prevent the brother possible reunion from becoming too simple. If Taemin is Damer, he will not immediately immediately move into Ares' words and forget 17 years of the another life. He may continue calling himself Taman. He may continue loving Sibnem despite anger towards her. He may see Lala as his family. Ares must accept these facts if he want a real relationship rather than the childhood union he imagined. Taman, on the other hand, will have to understand that Ares' life through he may initially be focused so on the shock of his own identity that he does not think about Ares' series of the searching. Later, he would learn how long Ares refused to give up. He may hear about every place Ares searched, every risk he took, and now his desire to find the damage shaped his entire family. This could change Taman's attitude even if he cannot immediately feel like damage. He may become respecting Ares' love. A very emotional moment could happen when Taman see an old photograph of himself and Ares together as a children. In that moment, the ideas of the beginning Taman may feel like a story other people are pressing on him. A photograph make it personal. He would see himself beside a younger Ares and realize that there was a time when they knew each other completely. This phase may show happiness or trust that he cannot consecutively remember. This can create a grief for a childhood relationship. He lost them without choosing to lose it. Taman may then become desperate to recover memories. He would revise it location connected with the past, hoping some things will return. Ares might take him to a place and they knew as a children. At first, nothing happens and Taman feel frustrated. He may think the lack of the memory proved they are wrong, but later a small sound, smell, or visual details could bring back a fragrance. Memory should return slowly rather than perfectly. A child voice holding his or Ares and protecting him from the something could appear in his mind for a few seconds. This memory fragments could also explain Taman's emotional behavior in this present. Perhaps is his second strong need to protect people come from an early memory of the Ares protecting him. Maybe his fear connected to fire or separation has root in the events around the brother's childhood. The series can use the reveal not only to explain who he is but also why certain parts of his personality developed by the way they did. However, the story may introduce another surprises before confirming everything. A DNA test could appear to show that Ares and Taman are not brothers. This could completely destroy Ares after he has started believing he found Taman. Taman might also feel strangely disappointed despite previously retesting the idea. Such a result could make everyone believe the connection was taste, but the taste itself could have been manipulated. If Akan has enough influence and understand what is at stake, he may arrange a false result. This would be a risky but dramatic choice. Ares might initially accept the result because scientific proof seems stronger than memory, yet one clue would continue bothering him. Perhaps the blood type, childhood record, or witness statement cannot fit the negative results. Ares would then investigate who handled at the test. Layla could become cruel her because she may have access to information about where the test has changed. If she discovered that Hakan connected someone at the clinic before the result for release, her remaining trust in him could collapse. She might secretly arrange a second test without telling the family. This time the sample would be handled somewhere Hakans cannot reach. If the second test confirm a biological connection, that would become impossible to Danny. But even this should not be the final answer to every mystery. Knowing that Ares and Taman are brothers would only create a new question. How did damage become Taman? That question would open the next stage of the series. Seconds may then shift from denial to justification, and once the proof exists, he can go no longer claim Ares is mistaken. He may instead argue that decisions were made to protect Damir. He could say that the child needed stability and the reporting the past would have caused suffering. Ares will reject his reasoning because nobody asked him what he needed. Tamas may reject it because nobody allowed him to choose whether he wanted to know his brother. Similar reaction to confirm proof could clearly like to be very emotional. She may left fear that humans will immediately leave her. She could finally tell the full story from the point of view. Perhaps she must have met him when he was pregnant and alone. She may have grown attached before learning enough about Ares. When she later discovered he had brother, she may have been terrified that revealing it would take away the child she already loved. One self-decision can become years of the silence, and this confusion will not make everything right, but it can make Sebnem human. Tamas may understand her fear even while refusing to forgive her immediately. Ares may be less understanding because he led with the result of her science. This difference could create a conflict between the brothers. Tamas might defend Sebnem from Ares' anger, and Ares could face that his brother is choosing the woman who would told him his biological family. The reason would reveal Aras depressed and the wound. He has spent years waiting for the reunion and may secretly accept damage to understand everything immediately. When Tamas does not respond the way he imagined, Aras could become hurt and angry. He may say thought his behavior that he gave his entire life to funding Damir, while Tamas seems more concerned about protecting the people who kept them apart. Tamas would have his own pain. He did not ask Aras to spend years searching. He cannot suddenly carry responsibilities for Aras' sacrifice. He may feel that everyone wants something from him. Sabna want him to remember her sorrow. Aras want him to become damaged again. Hakans want him to stay silent. Dennis want him to face the truth without destroying himself. Lala want to family survive. Tamas may eventually need to step away from all of them and decide what he wants from himself. This could lead to a short disappearance where Tamas leave without telling anyone. Unlike earlier dangerous situation, this could be his own decision. He may go to a damaged old home alone. He wants to stand in the place connected to the person he used to be without Aras or Semnum explaining how he should feel. This could be a powerful moment of identity. Tamas may touch the wall, look at the old mark and try to imagine the child who lived there at the house. He could find something Aras missed because Taman is connected to the place through memory rather than investigation. He may notice a hidden corner or the object that feels familiar. Perhaps a small marks made by a child remains somewhere. It could be a nation, a drawing or similar samples. When Taman see it, another memory may return. This one could include Aras clearly. Rather than immediately feeling happiness, Taman may break down. Recovering a memory means accepting that the loss, the life become Taman's was real. It confirmed that Damir was not an invented possibility. He was once that child. He had no brother. He lost him. Then he grew up without remembering the loss clearly. The emotions weight would be emotions enormous. Aras may eventually find him in love from once. Aras may not need a proof of questioning scene, and the Tamas reactions could help him that something has changed. Their brother might sit in the same place where part of the story was hidden. There does not be the perfect emotional reunion. Silence and uncertainty he could be more powerful, and both would understand that the relationship cannot be rebuilt in one night. The next poem would be what they do with the truth as may want to expose him. Hakan rejected Tamas may exist for him because she want to discover she want to hear Sabna full explanation first. This difference could create their first serious disagreement. As a brother, Aras sees the delays as another chance for him to hide evidence. Taman sees immediate action as losing control of his own story. Lala may support Taman's need for time, which could make Aras feel isolated. He might think everyone is still protecting the Kaya family, but Dennis could help him see that Taman's request is not about protecting Hakans. It is about finally making one decision for him. The story can the shift toward the larger truth behind Dami's identity. This would be a major change in their relationship. Hakans may be shocked that his doctor is willing to stand against him for the Aras. Lala could make it clear through her actions that this is no longer only about Aras. It is about Taman as well. If her family has hidden his identity, she cannot be pretending nothing happened. Sibna might also turn against Hakans once she see how far he is willing to go. She may agree with keeping this past private, but she may refuse to let Hakans harm people or destroy Taman's chance to learn the truth. The secret that once held the truth adults together will begin tearing them apart. The family's home could become emotionally divided. Taman may refuse to speak him a Hakan. Laila could support Taman. Sibna may try to keep everyone together while realizing that her own lies had created the situation. Hakan may feel that Aras has entered his family and turned everyone against him. This could make his conflict with Aras much more personal. But the truth is that Aras did not create the problem. He only forced hidden choices into the open. Hakan's anger may prevent him from accepting this. Instead of admitting the past was wrong, he may blame Aras for refusing to leave it buried. This attitude could eventually isolate Hakan from everyone he was trying to protect. Aras himself may also need to control his anger. Once he has proof, he could become obsessed with punishing everyone involved. Lala may worry that revenge is replacing his original goal. Finding that Damir was supposed to heal something inside him, but if he allowed hatred to control him, he could lose the brother he just found. Taman may be the person who finally spot Aras. If we tell Aras that he wants truth but not destruction, Aras will have to listen. This could mark the first time Damir's own wishes directly shaped the search. For years, Aras made every decision alone because Damir was absent. Now his brother is present and now has his own voice. This can be a beautiful but difficult adjustment. Ares must be stop treating the search as his personal mission and begin treating the truth as something both brothers share. Tamon must stop running from the past and begin understanding why Ares could never let it go. The relationship could slowly develop through ordinary moments rather than dramatic speeches. Ares may notice a habit Tamon has that Tamir has a child. Tamon may discover they like the same food or reach to problem in the similar ways. Same small similarities are can make that biological connection feel real without forcing Tamon to suddenly recovery every moment. There can also be difference that surprise them. Tamon grew up with different opportunities, friend and family tradition. His personality will not simply match the child Ares remembers. Ares may initially be confused by his, but eventually he will appreciate getting to know his brother again instead of accepting him to remain frozen in childhood. Tannis could watch this developing relationship with happiness but also concern. As she now Tamon is carrying enormous pressure, she may encourage him not to define himself only through what other people call him. He can accept that he has Tamir without giving up the identity of Tamon. The two names can represent different parts of the same life. This idea may become central to Tamon development. He could initially feel that he must choose between them. If he accepts Tamir does not mean Tamon was false. If he remains Tamon is rejecting Ares, eventually he may understand that neither identity need to disappear. The child Tamir and the young man Tamon are the same person separated by the memory and circumstances. Ares will have to accept this as well. He may continue calling him Tamir at first because that name carrying years of love, but if Tamon asks him to use the name he has lived with, Ares could struggle. Eventually expecting that choice would show that Ares loves his brother as a person, not only as a memory. Meanwhile, the truth about the childhood accident may begin opening. Tamon's returning memories could contain something that changes what Ares believing happened. Perhaps the member an adult at the scene who should not have been there. Maybe he remembered being taken somewhere before official help arrived. The memory could suggest that the later separation was planned more quickly than everyone believed. Ares may investigation the accident again using the new information. He could learn that one report was changed or that witness statement disappeared. This could prove the mystery is his report was changed or what witness statement disappeared. This would prove the mystery is bigger than adoption. Someone may have used the choice after the accident to make decision that Amir Someone may have used the choice after the accident to make decision about Damir without proper oversight. The person responsible may not be Hakan alone. A new older figure could emerge. Someone connected to a Sebnam past or the Kaya family history. The person may have been the one who first saw an opportunity to place Damir with another family. Hakan may have become involved later. Introducing this person would prevent the mystery from ending immediately after the brother revealed. Ares can fight Damir and still continue investigating who destroyed their chance to grow up together. The emotional goal changes from finding his brother to understanding their stolen past. There may be also a connection to Sebnam's younger years. If someone from her past knew about Damir before Tamas became part of the family, that relationship could explain why she always been so afraid of the truth. Perhaps she did not choose the situation freely. Maybe she was pressured, manipulated, or told a false story about Damir having to serving family. If Sabnam later discovered Aras' secret, she could have faced a terrible choice. Returning Tammuz could mean losing the boy she had raised. Telling Aras would change every relationship. She may have chosen silence out of the fear. Again, this does not make the choice right, but it gives the story emotional depth. Aras could eventually learn that Sabnam did not know about him at the first time. This might stolen some of his anger toward her while increasing his anger toward the person who deliberately did his existence. The responsibility may shift toward Hakan or other figure who knew both brothers were alive. Lala will have to process these details too. She may begin seeing her parents not as simple heroes or villains but as a people who made complicated choices and then continued making worse choices to protect the first name. This could mature Lila significantly. She can love them while refusing to excuse them. The romance between Lala and Aras will probably become quieter during his period because the family truth is too large for normal romantic conflict. Yet their relationship can deepen through trust. Lala may help Aras when helping him cost her something. Aras may finally share evidence with her instead of deciding alone what she can handle, and then there can still be pain between them. If Aras learned that Lila found an important clue earlier and hesitated before giving it to him, he may feel betrayed. Lala would have to explain that she needed him to accept what it means. Aras may then recognize that he often accepts others people to process shocking information as quickly as he does. The relationship can mirror the larger theme of the story. Truth matters, but people need time to live the truth. Ares is always moving forward because stopping feel like closing Damir again. Laila and Timon may teach him that understanding cannot always move at the speed of an investigation. A latent turning point could involve Timon choosing to publicly stand beside her Ares against Hakam. Until then, Hakams may believe Timon will eventually return to the family and accept silence. If Timon instead say through his action that Ares deserve answers, Hakan control will truly end. This does not mean Timon rejects Sibnam or Laila. He simply refuses. He let love be used as a reason to hide his past. That distinction is important. Timon can remain connected to the Akaya while building a relationship with Ares. Hakan may respond by revealing something negative about Ares' own family. He could try to convince Timon that Ares does not know the whole story and their biological parents also carried secrets. This may be partly true. The story could avoid making one family completely innocent and another completely guilty. Ares may then face uncomfortable truth about his parents. Perhaps they had problem he has too young to understand, maybe financial trouble, conflict or another hidden issue affected what happened after the accident. These discoveries could shake Ares because he has built his lost family into the perfect memory. Timon could help him through this in a surprising reversal. At first, Ares is one helping Timon understand his past. Later, Timon may remind Ares that learning imperfect things about his parents does not erase the love he remembers. This could show the brother beginning to support each other instead of only connected through pain. Their bond can grow stronger through shared investigation. Timon may have access to family he may records while Ares understands the timeline of damage and disappearance. Together they can see connection neither could see alone. This partnership would be a real victory Ares wanted, even if it looked different from his childhood dream. Dennis and Laila could also work together despite their different emotional connections. Dennis understands Timon's current mental state while Laila knows family history. If they put their information together, they may uncover a detail the boy missed. This gives a female character meaningful roles in the mystery rather than leaving them only a romantic sport. Sibnam could eventually give them an older letter. She may have kept it hidden for years because it contained Timon's original name and information about Ares. The letter might have been written by someone who wanted the brothers reunited. Sibnam never destroyed it because part of the always knew the truth might need to come out. The existence of this letter would raise a difficult question. Why did she keep it but never act on it? Samna may have no answer that satisfies Ares. She kept the evidence because guilt prevented her from destroying it, but fear prevented her from using it. This is very human contradictions. The letter could direct them toward the final missing witness. The person may know whether the separation was legal, accidental, or deliberately arranged. Ares and Timon could decide to meet his person together. Hakan may try to stop the meeting because the witness could expose his role. Now, this could lead to one of the most dangerous sequences of the story rather than only emotion confrontation. There may be a physical risk as Hakan deception increases. Ares will naturally try to protect Timon's, repeating the role he had as an older brother in childhood, but Timon's may refuse to stay behind. He could fail Ares to his choices that this is the truth too. The brothers will face the danger together. This would be a meaningful change from the beginning of the series. Ares started alone carrying a promise to find Damir. Now if the prediction is correct, Damir may be standing beside him while they search for the final truth together. Even if the writers delay full confirmation that Timon is Damir, all this treatment can still work as a strong false part. Timon adaptation could connect with Damir without making them the same person. In that case, the shared investigation may reveal that Damir lived with or near Timon's before disappearing again. If this alternative happiness, Ares will suffer another major disappointment. He may have allowed himself to believe Timon was his brother and then learned that Damir is still missing, but Timon would remain emotionally connected to the search because his own childhood truth would be tied to Damir. Timon might remember Damir has another child with who protected him or shared a home with him. His recovered memories could reveal where Damir was taken next. This could still make Timon as most important person in Ares' investigation. However, the current direction makes the direct connection increasingly difficult to ignore. The parallel between Ares reaching Damir's past and Timon questioning his own past appears designed to bring their stories together. The next episode may continue building that possibility until either confirming it, or creating a major surprising. What is the most certain with the story logic is that Ares will no longer be able to investigate without affecting Timon. Their mysteries have moved too close together. Every answer Aras finds can change Damon's identity, and every memory Damon's recover can change Aras' understanding of Damir. This is why Hack-and-All strategy of keeping problems separated will fail. He may have been able to treat Aras as an outsider and Damon past as a private family matter. Now the two issues are becoming one issue. Sabna may recognize it sooner than Hakan. Her motherly fear will tell her that Damon is already emotionally involved. There is no safe way to return to the previous lie. Her only remaining choice is how much damage will be caused before the full truth is told. I predict Sabna will eventually begin secretly helping Timon even before she openly confesses. She may leave a document somewhere he can find it or refuse to him from beating someone connected to the past. This would allow her to move forward truth without immediately confronting Hakan. Hakan may discover this and feel betrayed. Their conflict could expose another secret unreal related to Timon but connected to why Semnum followed Hakan's decision for so long. Perhaps Hakan helped her during a difficult period and later used that history to maintain control. This can expand the adult storyline while the younger character moves closer to the truth. Daha 17 can show that secrets rarely exist alone. One lie requires another lie, and eventually an entire family can become organized around avoiding one painful fact. Aras' arrival has destroyed that organization because he has no reason to respect the silence. To him, the hidden past is not an old family issue, it is his life. That difference is why Hakan and Aras can nearly fully understand each other. Hakan believes stability is valuable enough to protect through silence. Aras believes truth is valuable even when it destroys stability. Timon will stand between these two ideas. At the first, he may wish he never discovered anything, and there could be a moment when he says through his action that ignorance was easier, but as he learned more, he will probably choose truth because living with unanswered questions become impossible. Dennis may help him reach that decisions by staying present without pushing him. A relationship with Timon can become much stronger because she is during the most confusing period of his life. Timon may become realizing that Dennis does not care whether his original name was Damir or whether he came from another family. She cares about the person he is now. This security may give him the courage to face the person he was before. Aras can learn from Dennis' approach. He may see that loving Timon means allowing him to choose his identity rather than demanding that the return to bring Damir. Eventually, Aras may stop asking when Timon will remember him. He may instead begin creating new memories with him. This is when their brotherhood can truly start. The story could show them doing something simple together, perhaps helping their friends, repairing something, or spending time away from the investigation. In that ordinary moment, Aras may notice that he finally feels less alone. Timon may feel it too, even without a complete childhood memory. Even being aside, Aras could trick being feeling natural. That emotional recognition may become more important than an official record. Still, the past cannot remain unfinished. Aras will continue searching for the person who made the final decision to separate them. Timon may now join him, but his goal will be difficult. Aras wants accountability. Timon wants understanding. These different goals can create new tension. Aras may want someone punished, while Timon may care about more hearing why it happened. Neither is wrong, but they will have to respect each other's need. The final truth might show that there was no single villain. Several people made decisions, each believing that they were solving a problem. One person changed a record, another person kept silent, another moved Damir, another pretended Aras from receiving information. Together, these actions stole years from the brother, even if no single person planned the entire result. This kind of reveal would fit the emotional direction better than the simple evil pen. It would force every character to face responsibility rather than placing all blame on one person. Hakan will carry the greatest responsibility because he had the power to correct the situation later and because to choose not to. Sabna may carry emotional responsibilities because fear kept her silent. Other may have followed orders to accept money when all has become clear. Aras may discover that revenge cannot return the lost memory. He will have to decide what he wants from the people responsible. An apology may feel too small, but decision will not rebuild his childhood. Timon could become the reason he chooses another path. If Aras spent all his energy attacking the past, he may lose the chance to build a future with a brother he found. This may become the central lesson of the next stage. Aras' search began in the past but must eventually lead him toward the future. Lala will be the part of that future if the relationship survives the family conflict. She may prove her loyalty not by turning against everyone she loves but by refusing to hide the truth. Aras will also need to stop testing her loyalty every time the Kaya family create another problem. Lala cannot change what Adas did years ago. If he truly loved her, he must separate her choice from theirs. This growth can repair the distance that has developed between them. Their relationship may become stronger precisely because it survives something much larger than jealousy and misunderstanding. Danish and Taman's connection can develop in the same way. She will know him at the moment he does not know himself. If she remains beside him without trying to define him, he may trust her more deeply than before. The two relationships can therefore mirror each other. Laila helped Aras understand that love can exist across family conflict. Dennis helped Tanab to understand that love can exist even when identity changes. The adults will have to learn similar lessons. Sabnam must understand that Taman's bond with Aras does not erase her years as his mother. She does not need to destroy one relationship to protect another. If she accepts this, she may finally begin healing the damage she caused. She could encourage Taman to know Aras instead of seeing him as someone who will take her son away. This could be an important and reparation step for Sabnam. She cannot change the past, but she can stop repeating the same mistake. Hakans may take longer to change. His need for control is likely to make him resist until lately everything is lost. He may only understand the damage when Lala, Taman, and Sabnam all stand against his choices. At that point, Hakan could either become even more dangerous or finally reveal the truth himself. The series may keep this decision uncertain for some time. If he chooses danger, Aras will face his strongest opponent yet, because Hakan will believe he has nothing left to protect except his reputation control. If he chooses confection, the story can surprise viewers by allowing Hakan to provide the final missing piece. He may admit that he made a terrible decision years ago because he believed it was the best for the family. Either way, his relationship with Aras will never be simple. Even if Hakan self reveals the truth, Aras will not easily forgive the years of the silence. Taman may eventually ask Aras not to spend his life hating Hakan. This request could create another emotional challenge. Forgiveness and accountability are not the same thing, and Aras will need to understand that as the section moves toward its strongest possible turning point. I accept Aras and Taman's paths to finally cross around a piece of evidence rather than ignore. It may be photograph, a childhood object, can old record, or a funny memory. Aras will see proof that the brother he has searched for may have been close to him all along. Taman will see proof that his life began under another name. Hakan will realize that the secret can no longer be fully controlled. Sabnam will realize that silence is now causing more pain than truth. Lala may understand that helping Aras means challenging her own family history. Danas will become the person helping Tamin remain emotionally steady as his old identity returns. The most important change, however, will happen instead Aras. He will stop thinking only about finding Damar and begin thinking about what Dami need after being found. That change will prepare him for a reunion he has wanted since the beginning. It will also prevent the reunion from becoming selfish. Aras will learn that his brother is not an answer to his pain. He is a person with the pain of his own. Taman will also begin understanding that Aras is not trying to destroy his life. Aras has come from the love that survived years without proof. Once Taman understands that his fear of Aras may slowly turn into curiosity, then trust, and finally a bond that either Hakan nor the past can easily break. The coming events may therefore give viewers something more powerful than a simple mystery answer. They may show two brothers learning each other again, while the people who separated their lives are forced to face what they did, even and when after the truth about Taman's become clearer. Another question will remain: if powerful people were willing to hide Dame's identity, what else did they hide about the night Aras lost his family? The question can take Daha 17 to an even darker part of the story. Aras may discover that finding Damer was only the first door. Behind that door is the real story of why the brothers were separated, who benefited from their separation, who tried to reunite them, who stopped them reunion, and why evidence has hidden for so many years. Time and memories may become the key to opening the final door. One memory in particular could change everything. He may remember seeing someone connecting with Hakan during the period when he was still known as Damir. If that memory becomes clear, it can prove that Hakan involvement began much earlier than he admitted. Hakan could deny it, but the memory may direct Aras towards physical evidence, a location, vehicle, building, or object remembered by Taman could still exist. Aaron and Taman may visit that place together. And there they might discover the final proof that their childhood were deliberately separated. That discovery would not only make them brother again, it would turn them into alias, and for the first time Hakan would no longer be forcing one determined young one searching for the truth. He would be facing both brothers. That is where the stage of Daha 17 can become much more intense. Aras has spent years fighting for Damir while Damir was absent. If Taman truly is that missing brother, he balances of the power changes the moment he decided to stand beside Ares. The family secret that survived for years because the brothers were separated will begin collapsing because they are finally together. Sabnam may cry over the possibility of losing Taman but she may slowly understand that she is not losing him by allowing him to now Ares. She only risks losing him if she continue hiding the truth. Laila may become more important than ever because she can help both sides communicate when anger make understanding difficult. Danish will continue help Taman understanding that he is allowed to feel love, anger, gratitude, and betrayal at the same time. Ares' friend will remind him that he does not have to face the final fight alone, and Ares himself will begin to understand something he could never understand while searching from a distance. Finding a missing person does not end the story. Sometimes it is only the beginning. If Timon is damaged, Ares has finally reached the brother he wanted, but now he must build a relationship with him without demanding that he lost disappears. If Timon is connected with Damar in another way, then his discovered memories will still bring Ares closer than ever to the real person. In other possible, Timon has become central to the mystery. That is why the next development should focus heavily on his past. Every hidden photograph, every incomplete documents, every unexplained fear, and every returning memory will carry more meaning. Ares will watch carefully. Semnam will become more nervous. Second will become more dangerous. Lala will become less willing to accept easy explanation. Danish will become more protective of Timon's right to know the truth, and Timon himself will move from confession toward determination. At first, he was frightened by the possibility that his life story was wrong. Soon, he may become the person most determined to discover exactly how it was changed. Now, this is the point where Haken's power start failing because a secret can be protected while the person affected by it remain unaware. Once Timon being searching for himself, protecting the secret become almost impossible. He now the family from inside, Ares now the investigation from outside. Together they can reach information neither could reach alone. Haken may realize and attempt one final separation. He could create a misunderstanding between them, perhaps showing Timon something that make Ares search look selfish. He may suggest that Ares only want revenge or that Ares will expose Timon publicly without caring how it affect him. For a short time, Timon could believe it's because he is economically vulnerable. Ares may then feel all the pain of the losing Damir again, this time while his brother is standing in front of him. Instead of reaching with anger, Ares could prove his attention by giving Timon control over an important decision. He might hand over evidence and allow Timon to decide what happened next. That action could become the moment Timon truly began trusting him. Haken's plan would fail because Ares chooses his brother over revenge. This would also complete an important part of Ares' growth. At the beginning of the search, finding Damir was something Ares needed from himself. Now he began protecting Damir's freedom even when it been delaying the answers he want. That is what finally makes him ready to be another again. Tamas may see this and understanding why the child inside his memory trusted Ares. Another fragment could turn. Perhaps he remember holding Ares' hand. Perhaps he remember following him somewhere because he believed his older brother would keep him safe. The memory does not need to be large. A small memory can carry enormous emotion. For Tamas, it would be proof beyond record and DNA that the relationship existed inside him before he could remember it. For Ares, hearing that Timon remember even one small thing would be the hope he has waited years to receive. This could become the emotions ending of the section. Not a complete union, not complete forgiveness, not every secret exposed. Instead, one small memory return. Tamas looked at Ares differently. Ares realizes that Timon may still exist until the person called Timon. Sabnam sees that the brothers are beginning to connect and understand she can no longer keep them apart. Hakan realizes that all secret is collapsing. Laila understands that her family will never return to the way it was. Danik realizing Timon has crossed the point where he can choose ignorance again, from where every character must have moved forward. The past has already entered the present. The only question now is what the truth will destroy and what it will finally repair. For Ares, the next step will be learning the complete story of Damir's disappearance. For Timon, it will be deciding how Damir belongs instead his personal, the present identity. For Sabnam, it will be choosing between confession and losing her son's trust completely. For Ekans, it will be deciding whether to continue fighting a truth that has almost escaped his control. For Laila, it will be standing beside Ares without abandoning her own sense of right and wrong. For Danish, it will be helping Timon through a crisis that cannot be solved by one answer. And for the story of Daha 17, this can mark the beginning of its biggest transformation so far. The search for the missing brother is becoming a fight over memory, identity, family, and the right to know where a person comes from. Ares is closer than ever. But being close to the truth does not mean being close to the peace. In fact, the truth may create the greatest conflict the character have faced. If Tamer is confirmed as Damir, Hakim family will begin falling apart. If Tamer is not Damir, his memories may reveal where Damir went next and expose another leaf of the secret. Either answer move Aras forward. That is why the next episode can no longer return to the old pattern of Aras finding a clue and then simply losing it. The clue are now connected too deeply. Even if one piece of evidence disappears, Tamer questions remain. Even if hackers destroy a document, Laila may know what it contains. Even if Sabnam refuses to confess, her fear has already revealed that there is something to confess. Even if Faraz is sent away, Danish and Taman can continue searching. The secret has spent beyond Hakan's control. Too many people now hold piece of it. This makes the coming stage much more dangerous for him. It also makes the truth almost unavoidable. Aras may have spent most of his life believing he has chasing damage. Soon he may realize that the truth was also moving toward him. Taman memories are returning. Sabnim's silence is weakening. Laila trust in the old family story is breaking. Sarhat remains a possible source of evidence. Hakan is making mistake because fear is replacing confidence. Every part of the story is moving toward the same point, and then those pieces is finally meet. Aras may discover that the answer he wanted has been standing much closer than he could ever has imagined. The next stage will not simply ask where Damir is, it will also ask who Damir, because it will ask who had the power to change his life. It will ask why Aras was kept away. It will ask whether the family created through love when survive a truth created through lies, and most importantly it will ask whether true brothers separated as children can choose to become a brother again as young man. That is the question that can carry Daha 17 forward after the mystery began opening, because the deepest part of the story is not the document that prove a name, it is the relationship that must be built after the name is known. Aras has already proven he never forget his brother. Now the story may last whether Taman has find his way back toward the brother he forget, and if that first lost memory finally returns, everything will change. In the next part of Daha 17, the story can move beyond suspicious and begin giving Aras the first pieces of the evidence that cannot be explained away easily. Until this point, most of the mystery has depended on the memories, strange reaction, missing record, and people who clearly know more. Depending on memories, strange reaction, missing record, and people who clearly know more than they admitted. Aras has been forced to build his case from small detail, while Taman has been trying to understand why his human childhood suddenly feels uncertain. The next stage should change that balance. Instead of another clue that only creates question, Aras may finally find something that proves Dami's identity was deliberately changed after the brother was separated. This does not have to immediately prove that Taman is Damin, but it can prove that someone took active steps to erase the old name and create a new life. That discovery could be extremely important, because Aras would no longer be searching for a brother who simply disappeared. He would be searching for the brother whose disappearance was arranged by adults. For Aras, the difference and the change everything. A missing person can be a result of the tragedy. A changed identity means someone made a decision. Once Aras understands that, his sadness will turn into the much more focused anger. He will want names, plate, and person. He will want to know who decided that he and Damir should never find each other again. The evidence may come from an old administrator file that was never fully destroyed. Perhaps Aras found a document containing Damir's original name, followed by a handwritten note showing that the child was transferred under another identity. The new name may be partly hidden, damaged, or removed, which allows the mystery to continue, but the date could be clear, and the date may match the period when Taman's first because part of the Akaya's family. Aras may stayed at the paper for a long time because he understands what it means. Even before he understands every detail, someone did not simply lose track of the damage. Someone created a break between the child he was and the person he later became. This can become the moment Aras stops believing that the truth will be found by following Damir's name alone. If Damir has lived for years under another name, then every search Aras made using the old identity may have been designed to fail. This discovery could also explain why Aras has repeatedly come close to the answer without reaching them. The information available to him may have been correct only until a certain date. After that point, Damir disappeared from official record because his identity changed. Aras may began going back through everything he already collected, but instead of repeating his old investigation, he will look at it differently. He will search for the exact moment where Damir record, and then he will compare that date with Damir's earliest known record. If the gap is small, Aras will understand that the possibility he feared is becoming much longer. The mystery is no longer simply emotional. The lifetime itself may begin pointing toward Diamond. Aras will probably resist a confusion at the first. Even after years of searching, he may not be ready to believe that his brother could have been standing near him. Accepting the ideas mean accepting that he has already spoken to Damir. It's mean remembering every disagreement, every moment of distance, and every time he looked at the diamonds without seeing the little brother he lost. Aras may blame himself even through there was no way he could have known. This guilt can become another emotional burden. He may wonder why something inside him did not recognize Tamir sooner, but human memory does not work like that. Tamir is no longer the child. Aras remembers his face, voice, behavior, and entire life have changed. The real pain comes from the fact that someone made sure that brother would not be able to recognize each other easily. Tamir meanwhile may reach an equally important moment in his own search. After discovering that part of his childhood story are false, he could stop asking whether he was adopted and start asking who he was before the adoption. This is a much more frightening question. Adoption itself can be understood. Many people grew up in loving adoptive families. The deeper problem is that Thomas may realize his original identity was actively hidden. If this family simply wanted to raise a child, there would have been no reason to raise every connected with the past. That too can make him suspicious of Hakan in the way he has never been before. He may begin searching for his earliest legal record and notice that the first official documents connected with the name Tamin began after he has already old enough to have memories. This can shock him. He may have always believed that Tamin was his name from birth. Now he could discover that the name disappeared only after a certain years. The earlier file may be missing. He may ask Sebnam why, but her silence or weak explanation will make the truth even more obvious. Tamans may not know the name Damir yet, but he will know that another identity existed before Tamans. This discovery could make the fire-related memory fragments stronger. Instead of random fear, Tamans may be seeing the image repeatedly. He might remember a younger boy's room, another child beside him, and an adult rushing them somewhere. The memory may be confusing because it combines different events. He may not know whether he is remembering the family accident, a later emergency, or another frightening event entirely. But one detail could remain clear: there was another boy who mattered deeply to him. At the first, Taman may think this boy was simply a childhood friend. He might tell Danish that he keeps seeing the same face without being able to identify it. Danish could encourage him to draw what he remembered or describe the place. This does not solve the mystery, but it gives Taman a way to trust his own memory again. If Taman describes the boy, Danish may notice that some details sound like errors. She may not tell him immediately because she knows how fragile the situation is. Instead, she could begin watching Aras and Tamas together. The way they react to each other may suddenly look different to her. Small similarities in expressions, stubbornness, or protective behavior could become more noticeable. Dennis may realize that what seemed like conflict between them could partly come from an unexplained emotional connection. This would not be specific proof, but it could make her take Aras suspicious more seriously. Laila could also discover a new part of the past, but through a different tool. She may remember that her family once kept a locked cabinet or storage room containing old papers no one was allowed to touch. As a child, she never cared about it. Now she may understand why. If Laila entered that space, she could have found financial records showing that money was paid to a private institution around the same time as Taban appeared in the family. The movement may have been described in the voice way, perhaps as a medical care, legal services, or family support. Laila will understand that it does not fit the story she was always told. She may take a photograph of the record rather than removing it. This is important because Laila is learning to investigate carefully. If the paper suddenly disappears, Hakan will know someone has found it. By keeping it in place, she can continue watching. She might can notice Hakan checking the same cabinet later. This could confirm that the document still matters to him. Laila trusts her in the father may weaken further, but she will probably not immediately confront him. She has seen how quickly Hakan closes every door when he feels threatened. Instead, she may quietly show the information to Iris. This can become a major step in the Iris and Lala's relationship. In earlier conflict, Iris often tried to protect Lala by keeping secrets from her, while Lala sometimes struggled between him and her family. Now she may be the one bringing evidence to him. Her action proved that she is choosing truth even when it could hurt the people she loves. Iris should understand how difficult that is. Rather than seeing her family connection only on as a problem, he may begin seeing it as a reason she can reach information no one can. Iris can. The financial record contained the name of the person who will become the next important witness. Perhaps the money was sent to the lawyer, doctor, social worker, or former employees who helped Mary Stramer's arrival into the family. This person may now be retired and living quickly somewhere else. Hackers may believe they have disappeared from the story, but Iris can track them down. This gives the prediction a fresh direction because the mystery move away from the Kaya's house for a while and record towards someone who saw what happened years ago. Iris will probably want to meet the witness immediately, but Lila may warn him that Hackens could be watching. If Hacker notices Iris traveling toward that person, he may interfere before the meeting happens. Iris could therefore create a false plan. He might allow Hackens to believe he is following another lead while the barrage or another trusted friends help arrange the real meeting. This is another sign that Iris is becoming smarter. He is no longer showing everyone move before making it. A witness may initially refuse to speak. Years have passed and powerful people may still frighten them. They could instead that they only handle paperwork and did not know the full story. Iris will not accept that easily, but he may realize that anger will make the witness close down. Lala's presence could help because she belonged to the family connected with the old decisions. Seeing Lala willing to know the truth may convince the witness that the situation has changed. Slowly, the witness may reveal that the young child was brought to them after a serious family crisis. The boy was present, confused, and was unable to explain his full story. Someone claimed that no close family member was able to care for him. The child identity was then changed during an unofficial process that was presented as protection, and the dispute confirmed that Damir's disappearance was not random. The witness may remember that another brother existed but was described as unreachable or unsuitable. This information would break Iris emotionally because he will understand that sometimes I spoke about him as though he did not matter. Perhaps the adults involved said he could not care for nobody considered but making decisions in rooms where he had no voice. The witness might also reveal something that person Iris from blaming Sebnem completely. Perhaps when Tamon first entered the Kaya family, Sebnem was told that the child had no surviving brother. She may have believed that the story for the time. Only later did she discover Iris existed. This could explain why her guilt is mixed with genuine love. She did not necessarily begin the lie, but she chooses to continue it after learning more. Hakan, however, may have more earlier. The witness could remember Hakan asking questioning about the boy's previous family or paying extra money to make certain records difficult to assess. If this is true, Iris will finally have to direct reason to connect Hakan with the identity change. Until now, this information would break Iris emotionally because he will understand that someone spoke about him as stuff he did not matter. Perhaps the adult involved said he could not care for Damir because he was also a child. Maybe they believed separating them was practical, but nobody considered what the separation would do on them. Iris may realize that his entire life was shaped by the adults making decisions in room where he had no voice. The witness might also reveal something that prevent Iris from beginning Samnam completely. Perhaps from when Tamon first entered the Kaya family, Sabna was told that the child had no surviving brother. She may have believed the story for the time. Only later did she discover Iris existed. This could explain why her guilt is mixed with genuine love. She did not necessarily begin the lie, but she chose to continue it after learning more. Hakan, however, may have known earlier. The witness could remember Hakan asking questions about the boy's previous family or paying extra money to make certain records difficult to access. If this is true, Iris will finally have a direct reason to connect Hakan with the identity change. Until now, Hakan behavior could be explained as protecting family privacy. This new information would suggest he actively has buried the past. Iris may want to expose Hakan immediately, but the witness may warn him that there is another person above or behind the process. This can expand the mystery. Hakan may not have created the situation from the beginning. He could have used an existing illegal agreement after someone else first separated the brothers. The witness might remember a name or recognition connected to other cases. This suggests Tama's story may be part of the larger hidden system. This larger secret could become more important for future sections. Perhaps the vulnerable children were placed into the wealthy family through unofficial connection with the record change to avoid questions. Hacker may have used that system to bring Taman into the family. If so, the story is no longer only about one family lie. It becomes about people with power deciding the life of children without proper oversight. Errors personal search can give them grow into the light for truth that affect more than themselves. However, Section 3 should keep the emotional center on Eris and Taman. Once Eris receives the witness information, he may finally feel that he has enough to speak to Taman honestly. He cannot prove every detail, but hiding the suspicions now would feel wrong. Too many people have already kept Taman in the dark. Eris may decide that if he truly cares about his brother, he cannot repeat the same pattern. Before Eris reaches him, Taman may discover the name Damarian is on. Perhaps he finds it written inside an old book on the back of the photograph or in the record Sabna forgot to remove. The name may produce a physical reaction between a clear memory. Taman could feel dizzy, frightened, or strangely familiar with it. He may read the name several times, trying to understand why it feels like something he once knew. This moment can be extremely powerful without requiring dialogue. Taman might look at himself in a mirror afterward and wonder whether he has been looking at the same person all his life while knowing only one half story. He may begin thinking of the Taman and Damir as two separate people, even though both names belong to him. This identity conflict can create a new emotional problem. He may fear that accepting Damir means losing Taman. Stannis can help him understand that a name does not erase the years he has lived. If he was once Damir, that child still grow up into Tamin. He does not need to destroy one identity to accept the other. This idea can slowly calm him, but the shock will remain. When Eris finally arrives, he may find Taman already holding the clue with Damir's name. This could make their meeting very different from what Eris expected. And he does not need to reveal the name. Taman already knows it. Instead, Eris must explain why that name mattered to him. Taman may notice Eris' reaction and immediately understand that the mystery connecting them is larger than our reputation. He could ask himself why Eris looks so affected by one old name. Eris may struggle to speak because this is a moment he has imagined for years, but nothing about it feels simple. Rather than an immediate emotional reunion, Taman may react to this with disbelief. He may refuse to accept that Eris could be his brother based only on old record and memories. This reaction makes sense. Taman has spent his entire life living another story. Even if the evidence is strong, his mind will protect itself by looking for another explanation. Eris might show him the timeline, the witness information, and the physical clue for damage past. Taman may see that the dates fit, but he could still resist. This is not because he hates Eris, it's because accepting the connection changes too much at once. He may then ask for specific proof. A DNA test becomes the logical next step. Unlike in earlier prediction, this section can focus on the process and the danger around the test. Rather than simply using it as quick answer, Eris will agree because he wants certainly to. They may decide to arrange the test secretly so Hakan cannot interfere. Lala could help find a reliable place. Dennis may stay close to Timon during the process because he is clearly nervous. Eris may try to appear calm, but inside he will be terrified. A positive result could change his life. A negative result will destroy the stronger hope he has had in years. Hacker may learn about the test through someone inside the family. Once he does, he will understand that time is running out. He cannot stay swap memories, but he must still believe he may control evidence. This could push him into one of the most dangerous decisions. Instead of simply changing the result, Hacker may attempt to stop the samples from reaching the correct laboratory. He could arrange for them to be switched, lost, or delayed. This creates tension without making the plot too easy. Eris may receive a message that the samples were damaged or unusable. At the first, it looked like bad luck, but Lila may discover that Hacker contracted someone connected with the clinic. This could be a moment Lala conflict with Hakan become direct. She may no longer be able to pretend she is only investigating quietly. If she knows he interfered with Taman's right to know who is he, she could openly challenge him. Hakan may respond by accusing Eris of turning her against the family, but Lila will understand that Eris did not create the second, Hakan did. Sabna may overhear or learn about the interference and become furious with Hakan. She has spent years hiding the truth, but time and suffering is becoming impossible for her to ignore. She may believe they have already done enough damage. Preventing her DNA test would cross a line even for her. This could be a beginning of Sabnam actively opposing Hakan. She may secretly help arrange a second test. Perhaps she provide an old personal item belonging to a timer from childhood or help obtain a sample in a way Hakan cannot control. Her action would be important because it shows that her love is beginning to defeat for her fear. The second test might take him, creating several days of emotional uncertainty. During that period, Aras and Timon would be forced to continue living around each other without knowing the final answer. This is the great opportunity for new emotional scene. They might notice similarities without speaking about them. Aras couldn't see Tamman doing something Tammy used to do. Tamman could hear Aras mention a childhood event that suddenly feels familiar. These small moments can make the DNA result feel less important emotionally. By the time the science confirms the truth, their instincts may already be moving toward acceptance, but the waiting period could also create conflict. Timon may feel trapped between two families before knowing which story is true. Hakan could use that uncertainty to influence him. He may tell Timon that Aras is desperate enough to see connections but are not there. He could suggest that Aras wants Timon to be damaged because he cannot accept losing his brother. This idea may disturb Timon because part of it sounds possible. Aras may spend years searching, but if this hope is affecting his judgment, Timon may become distant from Aras again, not out of anger but because he fears becoming someone else's dream. Aras may notice the distance and become hurt. His first instinct may be to push harder, but Laila could stop him. She may remind him that Timon needs waves. This could show how important Laila is becoming in Aras' emotional growth. She understands both of them enough to see the problem. Aras may then choose not to contract Timon for the short time. Instead, he focuses on the wider investigation. This decision can surprise Timon. If Aras only wanted to force him into the role of Damir, he would not stop back. Aras' willingness to wait may become the first proof that his feelings are not selfish. During this period, Timon might start seeking Aras on his own. Curiosity can become stronger than fear. He may ask Tanis about Aras' past, how long he has been searching, and what Damir mean to him. Tanis may explain that Aras' search was not recent obsession, it has shaped his entire life. Timon could then learn details about the childhood separation from other people. He may hear that Aras never accepted the idea that Damir was gone. He may learn about risk Aras took, opportunity he gave up, and the way he kept following even weak clues. This can deeply affect him. For the first time, Timon may imagine what it was like for Aras to grow up without it. Instead of seeing himself only as a victim of hidden identity, he began seeing Aras another victim of the same decision. That understanding can create empathy before memory. Timon may not yet remember being Tamir, but he can recognize Aras' pain as a real. Meanwhile, Aras' investigation into the old witness could lead to surprising discovery about Sirhat. Perhaps Sirhat knew about the identity change because he later helped Hakan move or hide records. This could explain why Hakan was so desperate to control him. Sirhat may possess a copy of document that directly link Hakan to the process. Aras could search for Sirhat again and find what he is lying to escape. Sirhat may know that once the Sirhat starts coming out, he could be blamed for everything. He might want money or protection in the exchange for the evidence. Aras could have negotiations with him, but he may have no choices. This where Baris or could another friend can help. They could set up a safe meeting and record what Sarah say, not because they want revenge but because they know Serhat may later deny everything. Serhat might reveal that Hakan's contacted him years later to locate information about damaged original family. This may Hakan's new Aras exceeded or deliberately choose not to reunite the brothers. That fact would be devastating. If Aras learns this before the DNA result, he may feel certain Timon. If Damir, even without sacrifice, proves the timeline become too strong, but he will still keep this information from Timon until the test return because he has learned not to force conclusions. Sarath may also reveal that someone else wanted Damir found years ago. Perhaps an older relative or family friend tried to locate both brothers but was stopped. This introduces a new emotional question. What if Aras and Damir could have been united much earlier? Aras may become consumed by the possibility. He could imagine how different their lives would have been if one person had made another decision. This can become dangerous because he starts living inside a possible past. Lala may have to remind him that he cannot change those years. Tamar could face the same temptation later. If he learns he has Tamir, he may wonder what his life would have been like. Ares, would he become then happier, poorer, safer, more loved? This is no answer. Both lives contain things he values and things he lost. The story can use this is to show that truth does not produce a perfect alternative history. It can give them a ability to understand what happened and choose what come next. When the second DNA result finally arrives, the series can build strong tension by not showing it immediately. Ares may receive the sealed result but has hesitated to open it alone. This is important. Earlier in the story, he might have opened it instantly because his need for answer controlled him. Even he may decide Tamar should be present. He could go to the Tamar with the envelope still closed. That simple action would prove respect. Ares is no longer treating the result as his answer. It belongs to both of them. Tamar may be surprised. He might have expected Ares to check first. Instead, they open it together. If result confirmed they are brothers, the movement should remain quiet. A huge emotional reactions may come later. At first, shock can make both of them almost unable to move. Ares finally has specific proof that the brother he searched for his life. Tamar has specific proof that the family story he trusted was incomplete. Ares may feel relief and pain at the same time. Tamar may feel fear and strange recognition. Neither emotion need to win immediately. Tamar could leave after seeing the result because he cannot persist in front of everyone. Ares may want to follow but stop himself. This restraint show growth again. Dennis may find Tamar alone after he would be looking at the result again and again. The word confirming biological connection may feel unreal. He might repeat the answer Ares and Tamar in his mind, trying to connect them with himself. This could trigger another memory. This time the memory may be clear. Young Ares protecting him, calling him Tamar or holding his hand during a frightening moment. Tamar may finally recognize the boy from his recurring memories as Ares. That memory become more powerful than the DNA test because it returns emotions with identity. Tamar may suddenly remember how safe he once felt beside Ares. He might also remember the moment when they are separated. If that memory returns only partly, it can create the next mystery. Perhaps he remember an adult taking him away while Ares was knows present. Maybe he remembered crying for his brother. The adult's face remained unclear, but a ring, voice, call, or object could become the next clue. This is where the story can move from providing brotherhood to providing responsibility. Tamar now has something Ares never had, an eyewitness memory for inside the separation. And Ares may ask him carefully what he remembers about what Tamar could become overwhelmed. Dennis may insist that he not be pushed again. The story can show Ares learning to control his urgency. Over the following days, Tamar may choose to spend more time with Ares, not because everything feels abnormal, but because he wants to understand the person in his memory. Ares may take him somewhere connected to their childhood. The location could be simple, an old street, playground, seaside area, or neighborhood. Tamar might recognize certain details without remembering the full place. He may know which way to turn before Ares tells them. That instead would make both of them emotional. For Ares, every small recognition is like receiving part of his brother. For Tamar, every recognition proved that Tamar was not other person, he was himself. At the same time, returning memories may create anger. Tamar could begin remembering that he searched for Ares too, at least in the first days after the separation. He may remember asking adult about his brother and being told something false. If he remember being told that Ares was dead, the betrayal became even worse. This could explain why he stopped searching as a child. He may have believed there was no brother left to find. When Ares hears this, his anger toward Hakan and the adults involved will become much stronger. It is one thing to hide record, it is another to tell frightened child that his brother is gone. Tamar may also become angry because he realizes his forgotten grief shaft. He may, even if memory disappeared, the emotional wound may have reminded. This can explain some of his fear of abandonment or strong reactions to losing people. Their identity reveal therefore does more than change his name. It helps with understand part of the himself that never made sense. Hibnam may see Tamar spending time with Ares and fear she is losing him. Her own instinct would be to interfere, but now she may force herself to remain silent. This is her chance to show change. Instead of pulling Tamar back, she might prepare his childhood belonging and give them to him some prayers for some before he entered her life. This would be a major act of honesty inside the box. Tamar could find objects that appear in the returned memory that would prove Sabnam kept part of this past even while filing it. Yet Tamar may ask himself why she preserved those things.